Chapter 2350. Just a moment ago, they were still discussing whether or not the evil path was bluffing. Now, the battle had already begun. When Xiao Chun and the others arrived outside the station, many cultivators from the Great Thousand World also flew over from all over the world. This was the first time the evil path had initiated a battle, and it was very likely to be the first battle after the evil god's resurrection. Therefore, the emperors and Tenzu of the Great Thousand World were very cautious. Xiao Chun and the others stood at the front of the group. Soon, Junwei and the other sovereigns also appeared. Everyone's eyes were fixed in front of them, and a solemn look flashed in their eyes. Under everyone's gaze, many evil path cultivators finally appeared in front of everyone. Facing such a large number of evil path cultivators, Dao Xiong's expression was ugly as he spoke. "They're here." As Dao Xiong's voice sounded, Zishi, Yintong, Tao Ming, and the other evil sovereigns appeared in front of everyone. However, at this moment, under the escort of the evil sovereigns, a middle-aged man with a scholarly appearance was clearly the real focus. They had never seen this middle-aged man before, but when Tenzu saw this middle-aged man, he said with a cold expression, "Xietian." "Yo, Tenzu, after not seeing you for so many years, you still haven't improved at all." Hearing Tenzu's words, Xietian said with a chuckle. The only one present who knew Xietian was Tenzu, but after just a few words, Xietian ignored Tenzu. Although the heavenly ancestor was strong, there was still a gap between him and Xietian. Xietian did not place the heavenly ancestor in his eyes. In the last war between the righteous and evil, Xietian had already fought with the heavenly ancestor. In a one-on-one situation, the heavenly ancestor could not stop him. At this time, Xietian was more interested in Tao Ming and the Junwei mentioned by Yintong. He was an existence that had surpassed the Emperor realm just like him. Looking away from Tenzu, Xietian said indifferently, "Who is Junwei?" Hearing Xietian's words, Junwei gave a helpless bitter smile, but he still softly said, being remembered by the evil god, "It seems like this old man's honor." Hearing Junwei's words, Xietian's eyes instantly looked over. Regarding this, Junwei didn't avoid it, and the two of them looked at each other. Facing Junwei, although he did not release any aura, Xietian could still feel that Junwei was not simple. What was certain was that Yintong and the others' evaluation of Junwei wasn't too exaggerated. This person was indeed very strong, and he was only one step away from the Emperor realm. Among the emperors of the Great Thousand World, there was actually such a powerhouse. Xietian said with a faint smile, "Not bad. We didn't disappoint this one." Xietian's words sounded very relaxed, but his expression had already become serious. They hadn't fought yet, but Xietian could already feel that Junwei was very strong. In the entire Great Thousand World, Junwei was indeed the only person who could contend with Xietian. But at this time, the other emperor's eyes fell on Tao Ming. Compared to Zishi and the other evil sovereigns, the other emperors clearly hated Tao Ming more. It was not for anything else, but because Tao Ming was once an emperor of the Great Thousand World, but now he had betrayed the Great Thousand World. The battle hadn't started yet, but the atmosphere was becoming more and more tense. In this attack, the evil path side didn't hold back at all. All the evil path's cultivators in the Flame Wind world had come out in full force. Facing a battle of this scale, many people couldn't help swallowing their saliva, inevitably feeling a little timid in their hearts. However, this kind of feeling didn't give them much time to savor it. At this time, Xietian had already opened his mouth and said, "Kill." Following Xietian's words, the evil path side immediately launched their attack. Needless to say, the many cultivators of the Great Thousand World went forward to meet them. Facing the evil path's cultivators, everyone was very clear that it was either you die or I die, so there was no way they would hold back. Xiao Chun and the others were the new overlords of the Great Thousand World, and could even be said to be the strongest existence below the emperors, so they naturally bore the brunt of the attack. Charging towards the evil path's cultivators, Xiao Chun slashed out with his sword. Instantly, several evil paths cultivators in front of him were directly killed by Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun had no room to intervene in the battle between the emperors and evil sovereigns, so Xiao Chun could only kill the evil paths cultivators. However, the number of evil paths cultivators this time simply made one's scalp numb. In the previous battle on the Tianwu Road, although the number of evil paths cultivators was not small, compared to this, it was absolutely insignificant. This time, the number of evil path cultivators could be said to be more than 10 times that of the battle on the Tianwu Road. When the battle broke out, the emperors and evil sovereigns were also fighting fiercely. Only Jun Wuya and Xie Tian hadn't made a move yet. Before the battle began, the emperors had already made a decision. Xie Tian would naturally be left to Jun Wuya to deal with. Although Jun Wuya was helpless against an expert like Xie Tian, there was no other way. Other than Jun Wuya, no one else had the strength to contend with Xie Tian. With a calm expression, Xie Tian looked at Jun Wuya and said indifferently, "You're not bad. After all these years, you're the strongest opponent I've met. How about it? Are you interested in joining my evil path? Let's work together and go against the heavens." Xie Tian said in an indifferent voice. Hearing this, Jun Wuya shook his head and said, "Let's not talk about this nonsense and directly make a move." Xie Tian's words were a joke. He clearly knew that Jun Wuya wouldn't betray the Great Thousand World. Hearing Jun Wuya's reply, the smile on Xie Tian's face became even more evil. But at the same time, an aura that soared into the sky suddenly erupted from Xie Tian's body. This aura, even an Emperor Realm expert's expression would change because this was clearly an aura that surpassed the Emperor Realm. But Jun Wuya's expression didn't change at all. At the same time, an aura that wasn't weaker than Xie Tian's erupted from Jun Wuya's body. Both of them were existences with 1 foot in the Emperor Realm. It could be said that they were the strongest experts in this world. Even Tenzu wasn't their match. Without any superfluous words, Xie Tian took a step forward. His figure seemed to teleport as he directly appeared in front of Jun Wuya. He sent out a palm, and a dense blood-red light directly dyed the starry sky red. It's a pity. If an expert like you were on my evil path side, no one in this world would be able to stop this lord. What a pity, Xie Tian said in an indifferent voice. But Jun Wuya didn't reply. An azure light flashed and fiercely collided with Xie Tian's blood chi. In an instant, the sky collapsed and the earth caved in. Please add, please vote, please recommend. Chapter 2351. 2 existences whose cultivations had surpassed the Emperor Realm. Jun Wuya and Xie Tian's clash was so powerful that even the other emperors and evil sovereigns didn't dare to get too close. It could be seen that Jun Wuya and Xie Tian weren't holding back at all. This time, Jun Wuya was using his full strength right from the start, clearly not as relaxed as before. Previously, whether it was fighting with Purple Snake or Yin Tong, Jun Wuya didn't feel much pressure because even though the two of them were quite strong, there was still a gap between them and Jun Wuya, so they couldn't threaten Jun Wuya at all. However, it was different when facing Xie Tian. As the leader of the evil path, Xie Tian's strength wasn't any weaker than Jun Wuya's. Coupled with the fact that evil path cultivators had many tricks up their sleeves, Jun Wuya naturally didn't dare to be careless. With a single clash, the two of them instantly engaged in a fierce battle. Space began to collapse as the two of them fought, giving people a feeling as if the sky was collapsing and the earth was collapsing. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged hundreds of moves. At the same time, as the battle continued, both Xie Tian and Jun Wuya's auras became more and more terrifying. Blood chi filled the sky behind Xie Tian, while a lotus phantom appeared around Jun Wuya, faintly discernible. Not bad. You didn't disappoint this king. This king has returned, but I never thought that I would meet a master like you. Interesting. While fighting, Xie Tian also laughed. Xie Tian no longer had any doubts about Jun Wuya's strength. He was indeed a strong opponent. Even if Xie Tian was incomparably arrogant, he had to admit that Jun Wuya was qualified to fight with him. Hearing Xie Tian's words, Jun Wuya didn't reply, but his attacks became even more fierce. Xietian was praising his strength, but Junwia was also praising him. After so many years, especially after Junwia had touched the threshold of breaking through to the Emperor realm, he had never met an opponent like Xietian. When they were in the Boundless World, Junwia had also made a move, but he wasn't serious at all. Now that he was facing Xietian, Junwia had to use 120% of his strength to fight Xietian. The battle between the two of them affected everyone's hearts. After all, Junwia and Xietian both represented the peak battle strength of their respective sides. It could even be said that their battle strength surpassed the Emperor realm and the evil Emperor realm. The outcome of the battle between the strongest experts of both sides would determine the direction of the battle to a large extent. After Junwia and Xietian, the victory or defeat of the emperors and evil emperors didn't seem that important anymore. Because above the emperors and evil emperors, there were still the two peerless masters, Junwuya and Xietian. They were the supreme existences that suppressed everything. While killing the evil cultivators, Shao Chun was also secretly paying attention to the battle between Junwuya and Xietian. Seeing that Junwuya wasn't at a disadvantage, Shao Chen's heart calmed down a little. Junwuya and Xietian, their strength was almost the same. At least until now, the two of them could be said to be evenly matched. But when everyone thought that the two of them would continue fighting, Xietian suddenly gave a cold laugh. "I'll remember you, Junwuya. With an opponent like you, this one is very happy. But it's a pity that this isn't the time. Next time, we'll fight to our heart's content." Xietian acknowledged Junwuya's strength and also acknowledged the #1 expert of the Great Thousand World. But this time, Xietian's ambition wasn't here. Since he acknowledged Junwuya, there would naturally be more chances to fight in the future, and there wouldn't be less. Because in the entire world, whether it was Junwuya or Xietian, the only ones who could fight against them were the two of them. Xietian's goal in this battle was to tear open the Great Thousand World and enter the Great Thousand World through the spatial tunnel. Because Xietian's son was still in the Great Thousand World, he wanted to wake him up. As soon as his voice fell, he didn't wait for Junwuya to reply this time. Dense blood veins suddenly appeared behind Xietian, and with the appearance of these blood-red lights, there were waves of pitiful screams and sinister faces that appeared. Evil Ghost Sky. He gave a soft roar, and after that, endless blood chi covered the sky as it charged at Junwuya, charging at the Great Thousand Worlds cultivators. Faced with the attack of this dense blood chi, Junwuya didn't change at all. It was true that Xietian's attack seemed very powerful, but it didn't pose much of a threat to Junwuya. This evil ghost sky was clearly an area of effect divine ability, so it was impossible to use it to deal with Junwuya. Only, Xietian's strange actions made Junwuya's heart filled with doubt. Xietian definitely knew that although this evil ghost sky was strong and could instantly kill many Great Thousand Worlds cultivators, it wasn't worth mentioning to Junwuya. But even though he clearly knew this, why did Xietian still use this kind of divine ability? He couldn't understand it. At the same time, after Xietian used the evil ghost sky, the other evil sovereigns also made their moves. Like Xietian, they also used area of effect divine abilities. The actions of Xietian and the other evil sovereigns were clearly very strange, but no one thought too much about it until Xietian said, "Next time we meet in the Great Thousand World, let's have a good fight again." After saying this, with the cover of the blood mist, the evil cultivators instantly changed their minds. It was like they were Jian-Yi as they charged in the direction of the Great Thousand World. Moreover, they found the weakest point and quickly tore through the Great Thousand World's defenses. At this moment, Junwuya finally realized what Xietian's goal was. The evil cultivators wanted to break through the Great Thousand World's defenses and enter the Great Thousand World. He never would have thought that the evil cultivators' attack this time wasn't to determine victory or defeat, but rather to enter the Great Thousand World. Because they didn't have any preparations beforehand, the Great Thousand World didn't have any backup plans. Seeing their defenses being torn apart, more and more evil cultivators entered the space channel, heading into the Great Thousand World. Faced with these evil cultivators charging into the space channel, the Great Thousand World's people had no way to deal with them. Because in the space channel, they couldn't fight at all. Even the Emperor Realm experts couldn't do anything. They could only watch as more and more evil cultivators entered the space channel. At the same time, Xietian said to Junwuya with a smile at this time, "Junwuya, let's meet again in the Great Thousand World." After saying this, Xietian's figure flashed, and he also charged into the space channel. Seeing this, Junwuya immediately made a move to stop him, but it was a pity that he couldn't stop Xietian. Regarding this, Junwuya could only helplessly sigh. With Xietian's strength, wanting to stop him was indeed not an easy matter. Seeking collection, seeking monthly votes, seeking recommendations. Chapter 2352. Xietian had already made preparations to break out, so Junwuya was naturally helpless against him. It would be the same if it was him. Xietian would also not be able to stop Junwuya. Although Junwuya still made a move and did his best to stop Xietian, it was a pity that Xietian still broke free from Junwuya's entanglement and quickly entered the spatial channel. Countless evil cultivators entered the spatial channel. Regarding this, the cultivators of the Great Thousand World were anxious and did their best to make a move, but there was nothing they could do. Moreover, what the experts of the Great Thousand World were most worried about were not the ordinary evil cultivators, but rather Xietian and the other evil sovereigns. They had successfully entered the spatial channel and arrived at the Great Thousand World. This was definitely a disaster for the Great Thousand World. No one had realized that the evil cultivators attacking in full force was not to fight a war with the Great Thousand World, but rather to break through the seal of the Great Thousand World and enter the Great Thousand World. The defensive line was completely torn apart, and countless evil cultivators wildly rushed into the spatial channel. Not long after, the battle quickly ended. Although the Great Thousand World had killed many evil cultivators, the Great Thousand World had also paid a large price. What was more serious was that many evil cultivators, Xietian, and the other evil sovereigns had successfully entered the spatial channel. Leave some people to clean up the battlefield. The rest returned to the Great Thousand World. Not being able to hold the defensive line and allowing the evil cultivators to break through, Tenzu spoke with a dark expression. Now that the evil cultivators had all entered the spatial channel, the experts of the Great Thousand World had to quickly return to the Great Thousand World. Otherwise, the Great Thousand World would be plunged into misery and suffering. Hearing Tenzu's words, everyone no longer cared about formations. With each sect as a unit, they all drove their starships into the spatial channel. As the sect master of the Sword Sect, Shao Chun led the members of the Sword Sect into the spatial channel. Moreover, Shao Chun did not forget to send a message to Song Xing and the others, telling them that the evil cultivators had already entered the Great Thousand World. Now that all the evil martial artists, Xietian, and the evil venerables had entered the Great Thousand World, the Flame Wind World was naturally not in any danger. It just so happened that it was not suitable for Song Xing and the others to appear now. Shao Chun simply let them stay in the Flaming Wind Realm. On the one hand, they could search around the Flaming Wind Realm to see if they could find anything. On the other hand, they could also eliminate the fish that escaped the net in the Flaming Wind Realm. Without Xietian and the other evil sovereigns, with the strength of Song Xing and the others, there wouldn't be any danger in the Flame Wind World. Regarding this, Shao Chun wasn't worried at all. After briefing Song Xing and the others, Shao Chun and the others piloted the starship and quickly rushed to the Great Thousand World. At the same time, the starships of the other major forces also entered the spatial channel. As for Junwuya, Tenzu, and the other sovereigns, they had already rushed to the Great Thousand World. After entering the spatial channel, although Shao Chun and the others were anxious, there was nothing they could do. The starship was already at its fastest speed, but the spatial channel was not something that could be passed through in an instant. No matter how anxious they were, they could only wait patiently. In the cabin, everyone was sitting together in a circle. The little girl Gu Lingyao asked curiously, "Husband, didn't you say that no one below the sovereigns can pass through the spatial channel on their own?" Gu Lingyao did have this question in her heart. After all, this was a well-known fact. However, the evil martial artist just now did not even have a starship and directly rushed into the spatial channel. In this way, were they not courting death? If these evil martial artists all died in the spatial channel, wouldn't the battle between the good and evil end directly? However, would the evil martial artists be so stupid? How could they not know about such an attempt? Knowing what Gu Lingyao was thinking, Xiao Qin smiled and said, "It's not that simple. It's indeed difficult for ordinary people to pass through the spatial channel on their own, but it's different for the evil martial artists." "What's the difference?" Gu Lingyao asked. On the evil martial artist side, except for the evil sovereigns, there are only 4 of them. The evil sovereigns used a secret method to resurrect them. Therefore, they have no consciousness and are just walking corpses. Naturally, it's not a problem for them to pass through the spatial channel. If these evil martial artists really all died in the spatial channel, the sovereigns would not be so nervous. It was because the sovereigns knew that these evil martial artists were not afraid of the spatial channel at all, so they hurried back to the Great Thousand World. Hearing Xiao Qin's words, Gu Lingyao could not help but feel a little disappointed. Is that so? But if these evil martial artists really died in the spatial channel, then that would be good. Gu Lingyao was still fantasizing that these evil martial artists would die in the spatial channel. But Xiao Qin could only smile helplessly because this was simply impossible. Not only was it impossible, but after this battle, the battle between the good and evil martial artists would also completely change. In other words, all the sovereign's initial plans would be completely disrupted. As the sect master of the sword sect, Xiao Qin was naturally aware of the sovereign's plans. Originally, the sovereigns wanted to set the battlefield in the Flaming Wind World and eliminate many evil martial artists in the Flaming Wind World. Otherwise, the flames of war would spread to the Great Thousand World, and this idea was proposed by Xiao Qin. Unfortunately, after this battle, the Great Thousand World's defensive line had been torn apart. Countless evil Dao martial artists and evil sovereigns had seized the opportunity to enter the spatial passageway. It was impossible to stop them now. In other words, the flames of war had inevitably spread to the Great Thousand World. Xiao Qin sighed and said helplessly, "This time, the Great Thousand World will inevitably be plunged into misery and suffering." When the flames of war spread to the Great Thousand World, no matter what the final outcome was, the Great Thousand World would definitely be affected. In particular, the ordinary people and martial artists in the Great Thousand World would not have the slightest ability to resist. In the face of a battle of the good and evil level, even if the sovereigns wanted to reduce their losses, they were powerless to do so. After all, the battle was already so tense, and the sovereigns were not in the mood to think about such things. As long as they could defeat the evil martial artists, the sovereigns would not think about other things. After all, the final victory was the most important. If they lost, it would not be a matter of life and death, but the entire Great Thousand World would have to submit to the pressure of the evil martial artists. At that time, it would be the real descent of hell. Therefore, no matter what, victory was the ultimate goal. As for some losses, it was estimated that they could not avoid them. Please add, please vote, please recommend. End of chapter. Chapter 2353. The shift of the battlefield to the Great Thousand World completely disrupted the initial arrangement of the sovereigns. A day later, at the entrance of the space passage in the Great Thousand World, originally, there were some experts guarding this place, but their cultivation was not high. After all, the real experts had already followed the sovereigns and Tenzu into the Flaming Wind Realm. Moreover, these people did not seem to be nervous at all. In other words, they did not think that evil warriors would appear in the Great Thousand World. Their presence here was more of a symbolic role. Sigh, I wonder how the war in the Flaming Wind Realm is going. Have the sovereigns fought with the evil master? I guess the outcome has not been decided yet, but no matter what, the war in the Flaming Wind Realm should not affect the Great Thousand World. Of course, with Tenzu and the sovereigns guarding, the evil warriors will not be able to come to the Great Thousand World. In the camp, everyone sat in groups of 3 to 5. As they chatted about the battle in the Flame Wind Realm, they were confident that the evil Tao cultivators would not be able to invade the Great Thousand Realms. The Great Thousand Realms were definitely safe. However, no one expected that as soon as they finished talking, a surge of blood chi suddenly spread out from the space passage leading to the Flaming Wind Realm. Sensing the dense blood chi emanating from the spatial passageway, the expressions of the many cultivators guarding the spatial passageway changed drastically. These people's cultivation was not high, so they were left here to guard the space passage. Now, facing the rich blood chi that they had never felt before, these people were completely stunned. They looked in the direction of the space passage in a daze, and under everyone's gaze, an evil warrior flew out of the space passage without warning. Evil warrior. Everyone's expression froze when they saw the evil warrior. Then, they exclaimed in disbelief. Just a moment ago, they were confident that the evil warriors would not appear in the Great Thousand World, but who would have thought that an evil warrior would arrive in the Great Thousand World through the space passage just as they finished speaking? Damn it! How did this evil warrior enter the space passage? Have the sovereigns and Tenzu come out? Don't be nervous. Maybe it's just a fish that slipped through the net. Let's capture him first. When the evil warriors appeared here, everyone thought that the sovereigns and Tenzu had been defeated, but after thinking about it, they felt that it was impossible. How could they have been defeated so easily? However, regardless of the reason, the current plan was to capture this evil warrior first. Hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement. Then, they prepared to attack together and capture this evil warrior first. However, just as they were about to attack, 1, 2, 3, more and more evil path cultivators appeared in the space channel. Seeing more and more evil path cultivators appear from the space channel, everyone was dumbfounded. What's going on? What happened in the Flaming Wind Realm? If the appearance of the evil martial artist was a coincidence, then the appearance of so many evil martial artists in the Great Thousand World was obviously not a coincidence. Something must have happened in the Flaming Wind World. Previously, they had been relaxed, but now, the many martial artists who were in charge of guarding the spatial passageway all had grave and frightened expressions on their faces. However, this was not the end. As more and more evil path cultivators flew out of the space channel, Zishi, Yintong, and the other evil sovereigns appeared one after another. Finally, Xietian's figure appeared outside the space channel. Taking a deep breath, Xietian revealed a smile on his face and said, "The air in the Great Thousand World is still the best. How many years has it been since I last breathed in the air of the Great Thousand World?" After saying this, Xietian's eyes fell on the surrounding Great Thousand World warriors. With just a glance, Xietian lost interest. These people were all old and weak. Their cultivation and battle strength were not good. They were a bunch of trash. Kill them and leave as soon as possible. Hearing Xietian's words, the evil path cultivators immediately launched an attack. Faced with such a large number of evil path cultivators and evil sovereigns, the surrounding Great Thousand World warriors were naturally powerless to fight back. In just a few moments, the surrounding Great Thousand World martial artists were all slaughtered. Xietian did not stop as he led a large number of evil martial artists towards the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace no longer existed and was now under the control of the Heavenly Sect. The territory that once belonged to the Dragon Palace had now become the Heavenly Palace. Moreover, Xietian's son was sealed in the Heavenly Palace, so Xietian immediately rushed in the direction of the Heavenly Palace. Not long after Xietian's group left, starship after starship charged out of the space channel. Experts from a Great Thousand World all flew out of the starship, and those evil path cultivators who did not have time to leave were instantly killed. However, these evil path cultivators were in the minority. The true elites of the evil path had already left with Xietian. The battle around the space channel was quickly calmed down, but when everyone saw that the Great Thousand World warriors who were in charge of guarding the space channel had all been killed, their faces turned dark to the extreme. there was still no way to stop the evil path cultivators. In this way, they could only fight the evil path cultivators in the Great Thousand World. More and more starship appeared from the space channel. Xiao Chun stood on the deck and watched the battle that had just ended. His expression was also very ugly. At the same time, the sovereigns were also looking for traces of Xietian and the others. Soon, they caught the aura of Xietian and the others. It was clear that they were heading in the direction of the Heavenly Palace. Heavenly Palace? What were the evil path cultivators planning to do? Using the Heavenly Palace as their headquarters? It should be. After all, Tao Ming has sided with the evil path, so it's normal for him to go to the Heavenly Palace. The sovereigns spoke one after another. Tao Ming was once the old ancestor of the Heavenly Sect. Now that the evil path cultivators were heading to the Heavenly Palace, in the eyes of the sovereigns, they wanted to use the Heavenly Palace as their center. Speaking of Tao Ming's betrayal, the sovereigns gritted their teeth, but there was no other way now. After confirming the whereabouts of Xietian and the evil path cultivators, Tinzu turned to Jun Wuya and asked, "How is it? Can we catch up? It should be very difficult. In my opinion, it's better to show respect for the battle. Evacuate the cultivators around the Heavenly Palace and seal it." Hearing this, Jun Wuya indifferently said, "It would be very difficult to catch up with Xietian and the others now. It would be better to let them enter the Heavenly Palace and seal it. They would strive to control the battlefield in the Heavenly Palace. Please add, please vote, please recommend." Chapter 2354. It was not the best choice to chase after Xietian and the others now. So when he heard Jun Wuya's words, Tinzu also nodded in agreement. It was not the best choice to chase after Xietian and the others now. So when he heard Jun Wuya's words, Tinzu also nodded in agreement. The battlefield had inevitably shifted from the Flaming Wind world to the Great Thousand World, and no one could change this. Since this was the case, they could only think of ways to minimize the losses. Jun Wuya proposed to seal the Heavenly Mansion and lock the battlefield in the Heavenly Mansion. The other sovereigns naturally had no objections to this. Immediately, under the orders of the sovereigns, the experts of the Great Thousand World rushed to the Heavenly Mansion. Before the real battle began, the Great Thousand World needed to seal the Heavenly Mansion and move the people in and around the Heavenly Mansion to a safe place as much as possible. This way, they could fight back without any scruples. Therefore, for the time being, the Great Thousand World did not have the extra time to take the initiative to attack the evil way. The two sides arrived at the Heavenly Mansion one after the other. Wherever the evil way passed, it could be said to be a mess. Cities were massacred everywhere, and countless people died under the butcher's knife of the evil way. Xiao Chun led the experts of the Sword Sect and also rushed to the Heavenly Mansion. Along the way, Xiao Chun was also shocked. I've long heard that the evil way's experts are bloodthirsty, but I didn't expect them to be so cruel. Seeing such a scene, Gu Lingyao and the other two girls also had sorrowful expressions. They had seen 7 or 8 cities being massacred in a row, and there were almost no survivors. Hearing Gu Lingyao's words, Xiao Chun sighed silently. This was the consequence of allowing the evil ways experts to enter the Great Thousand World. The defensive line was torn apart, and the evil ways experts invaded the Great Thousand World en masse. This was the price. The evil ways experts used blood qi to quickly increase their cultivation, so they must kill. Xiao Chun said in a deep voice. The way the evil warriors killed was directly related to their cultivation methods. As soon as Xiao Chun finished speaking, a thick blood qi kept coming out of a small town not far ahead of them. Damn it! Xiao Chun knew what was going on as soon as he sensed the blood aura. Clearly, the evil warriors had begun to slaughter the city again. Cursing inwardly, Xiao Chun immediately led Long Qing, Xin Yuan Ling, and several sword sect experts away from the starship and hurried towards the small city. Since there were so many evil warriors, it was impossible for them to stay in formation all the time. After all, their target was the Hetian Prefecture. Therefore, evil warriors could be seen almost everywhere in the Great Thousand World. While these evil warriors were rushing towards Hitian Mansion, they were wantonly massacring the city. However, Xiao Chun happened to bump into them this time, so they had to kill them no matter what. Xiao Chun sped all the way to the small city and saw the tragic state of the city at a glance. There weren't many evil warriors in this group. There were only about 700 to 800 of them. However, this small number of people was enough to turn this small city, which had a population of a few 100,000, into a living hell in an instant. Houses had collapsed, and the ground was littered with corpses. On the streets, those who were still alive were frantically fleeing. However, for them, there was almost no objection to this kind of escape. They had no cultivation to begin with, and even if they did, it was pitifully low. Therefore, it was impossible for them to escape from the evil way. Mournful screams and sorrowful cries resounded throughout the small city. Looking at all this, Xiao Chun cursed angrily. What a bunch of beasts! Kill them! Without any hesitation, following Xiao Chen's words, Long Qing, Xin Yuan Ling, and the others released a terrifying aura that soared into the sky. A terrifying pressure instantly enveloped the entire Xiao Chun. Feeling this pressure, the evil warriors couldn't help but raise their heads to look at Xiao Chun and the others. However, they didn't have the ability to think and didn't know what fear was. Therefore, they didn't choose to escape. Instead, they directly attacked Xiao Chun and the others. Just like the evil warriors, the people who were still alive in the small town also looked up at the sky. When they saw Xiao Chun and the others, they couldn't help but have a glimmer of hope in their eyes. The top powers of the great thousand world are here. We are saved. Someone couldn't help but shout. In the face of the evil warriors, they didn't have the slightest strength to fight back. Now that they saw the top powers of the great thousand world, they naturally cried tears of joy. Xiao Chun and the others didn't show any mercy in the face of the attacks from the evil cultivators. The strength of this group of evil cultivators wasn't considered strong. Most of them were in the Immortal Emperor realm or Immortal Emperor realm. With such a cultivation base, they posed no threat to Xiao Chun and the others. The Sword Realm was unleashed. In an instant, more than 100 evil warriors who were enveloped by the Sword Realm were killed. The battle didn't last long. In fact, it could be said that it ended very quickly. Not long after, the group of evil warriors was killed by Xiao Chun and the others. However, although the group of evil warriors was killed, the people who died in the city couldn't be resurrected. The injuries that the evil warriors had inflicted on the people couldn't be reversed. They slowly landed in the city, which was already in ruins. As Xiao Chun and the others slowly landed, the survivors of the city quickly gathered around them. A middle-aged woman held the hand of a 7- or 8-year-old little girl. Like the others, she thanked Xiao Chun profusely. The little girl looked at Xiao Chun in fear. Facing the little girl's gaze, Xiao Chun didn't feel good. This was the consequence of war, especially a war like the war between the righteous and evil warriors. Xiao Chun held the little girl in his arms and asked gently, "Are you afraid?" Hearing this, the little girl nodded and didn't dare to speak. Seeing this, Xiao Chun said with a smile, "If you are afraid, cry it out. Cry it out, and you'll be fine." Perhaps because the little girl felt safe in Xiao Chen's arms, she immediately burst into tears when she heard Xiao Chen's words. Xiao Chen didn't care about the little girl's tears and snot dirtying his clothes. Holding the little girl in his arms, he looked at the people present and said in a clear voice, "Ladies and gentlemen, I am the headmaster of Swords Gate, Xiao Chun. The evil cultivators have all been killed, so you can rest assured. However, it is not safe here, so I suggest that you leave in the direction of the Sword Palace. Once you reach the Sword Palace, there will be people from Swords Gate who will help you settle down." Although the evil warriors were killed, this place wasn't far from the Hitian province. It wasn't safe to stay here. Therefore, Xiao Chun wanted these people to go to the Sword Sect. After all, compared to here, the Sword Sect was definitely much safer. The Sword Sect would also be responsible for settling these people down. At the very least, they wouldn't starve. Hearing Xiao Chen's words, the crowd was stunned at first, but then they became excited. So its sect leader Shao Chun from the Sword Sect. Shao Chen's name was indeed very famous in the Great Thousand World. After all, he was one of the 10 great Lingtian sects. Even ordinary people would pay attention to him. Therefore, when they heard Shao Chen's identity, they were even more grateful and knelt down in front of Shao Chun. Please collect, vote, recommend. Chapter 2355. Shao Chun and the others saved this small city, and the survivors followed Shao Chen's instructions and began to retreat in the direction of the Sword Mansion. After all, a great battle was about to break out soon, so it was naturally not safe to stay here. Moreover, facing the evil warriors, these ordinary people did not have any ability to resist. This kind of thing, not only did Shao Chun and the others encounter it, Dao, Zhu, Xiao, Li Chun, and the others also encountered it. Moreover, along the way, everyone had personally witnessed the cruelty of the evil warriors. After personally sending everyone out of the city, Shao Chen watched everyone leave before boarding the starry sky ship again and continuing to rush to the heavenly palace. However, after experiencing the things along the way, Shao Chun secretly made up his mind to win this battle. If the evil warriors were to win this battle, Shao Chun could not imagine what would happen to the Great Thousand World in the end. At that time, perhaps the entire Great Thousand World would become hell, and no one would be able to escape. To prevent this from happening, only by defeating the evil warriors could they stop it. We must win. Looking in the direction of the heavenly palace, Shao Chun firmly said, they had to win this battle, they could not lose. The people of the major powers of the Great Thousand World were rushing to the heavenly palace. At the same time, in the heavenly palace, in an unknown mountain range, Xie Tian and Yin Tong were walking over. This mountain range was not special at all, it was very ordinary. Although this kind of mountain range was not everywhere in the Great Thousand World, there were at least hundreds of thousands of them. However, Xie Tian and Yin Tong had personally come here, not for anything else, but because Xie Tian's son, the evil spirits, had been sealed here in the past. In the past, Xie Tian was powerless to reverse the situation, but in order to leave behind a final hope, not only did he forcefully leave behind his own remnant soul, he even sealed his son, waiting for a chance to return to the world in the future. Now that Xie Tian had successfully revived with the help of his remnant soul, he naturally had to come here to release his son. After countless years had passed, perhaps this mountain range had undergone a heaven and earth-shattering change, not being able to see the shadow of before it all. However, Xie Tian quickly found the place where the evil spirits were sealed. In a deep valley, Xie Tian slowly walked to the center of the valley and slowly formed seals with his hands. With the seals formed by Xie Tian's hands, the ground began to tremble as rocks fell in all directions. The ground was slowly torn apart as a transparent coffin slowly rose from the ground. The coffin was translucent, and one could clearly see a handsome young man sleeping in the coffin. His eyes were closed, and no aura leaked out. It was as if he was already dead. But the person in the coffin wasn't dead. It was just a secret technique that sealed his life force and divine sense. This person was Xie Tian's only son, evil spirits. After all these years, seeing his son again, even Xie Tian couldn't help feeling a bit excited. He reached out to gently stroke the transparent light as he spoke with a pampering look in his eyes. My son, Father is back. This time Father won't fail again. Father and son reunited. Xie Tian's heart was filled with emotions. As soon as his voice fell, Xie Tian began to release the seal. This seal was personally placed by him in the past, so if he wanted to release it now, naturally it wasn't a problem. Very quickly, with Xie Tian's actions, talismans flew into the air around the coffin and began to burn. As the talismans burned away, the coffin slowly opened. After a while, the evil spirits that had been sleeping for who knows how many years slowly opened their eyes. In the beginning, the evil spirits' eyes didn't have any figures, but gradually, as their consciousness slowly recovered, the evil spirits finally woke up bit by bit. Seeing the life force in the evil spirits becoming stronger, Xietian and Yin Tong didn't disturb them and just silently waited on the side. After 2 hours, the evil spirits finally woke up. They revealed an excited smile as they looked at Xietian and said, "Father, you're back." Father's back." Hearing this, Xietian reached out to pat the evil spirit's head as he spoke with a smile. Seeing their father again, the evil spirits were also incomparably excited. When Yin Tong on the side saw the evil spirits, he also gave a respectful bow. "Yin Tong greets, Sir Xiezi." Xietian was the leader of the evil martial artists and was worshipped as a god by all the evil martial artists. As Xietian's only son, the evil spirits were also called Xiezi by all the evil martial artists. Among the evil martial artists, the evil spirits had a very high prestige. Even Yin Tong and the other evil sovereigns were respectful in front of the evil spirits, not daring to overstep their boundaries. Of course, being able to have such high prestige, the evil spirits didn't just rely on their status or their father Xietian. Rather, it was because of the evil spirits' innate talent and battle strength that allowed them to dominate the world. In the past, when the righteous and evil war was fought, the evil spirits could be considered a large change. In the younger generation of the boundless world, there was no one that could be their match. Even those so-called heaven's pride monsters of the boundless world were all defeated by the evil spirits. Although they were evil martial artists, the evil spirit's strength was enough to be called number one in the younger generation. With the evil spirits successfully awakening, Xietian's heart was filled with joy. The three of them talked for a bit before Yin Tong suggested, "Sir Evil God, since Xiezi is fine, how about we return to the Evil God Palace first?" The former Heavenly Gate, which was also the Dragon Palace, had already become the evil martial artists' main camp, being called the Evil God Palace. Purple Snake and the other evil sovereigns were currently waiting in the Evil God Palace. Hearing this, Xietian said with a faint smile, "All right, Ming-er, come back with father." "Yes." Hearing this, the evil spirits replied in a soft voice. Following this, the three of them charged into the sky. At this time, from the aura that came from the evil spirits, he was actually at the small perfection end realm. Moreover, he was just a step away from breaking through to the great perfection end realm. Small perfection end realm. In terms of cultivation, the evil spirits could suppress Xiao, Chun, and the others. After all, Xiao Chun and the others were only at the large perfection end realm, and there was a difference in cultivation between them and the evil spirits. Moreover, don't look at the difference of small realm. Who was the evil spirits? The Xiezi of the evil path wanted to jump realms to challenge him. After all, to be able to have the same prestige as his father, the evil spirits naturally weren't idiots. He could jump realms to challenge others. So, in a situation where their cultivations weren't the same, it was impossible to jump realms to defeat the evil spirits. On the way back, the evil spirits said in a curious voice, "Father, can you tell me about the situation of the large world?" "Hee, let's talk about this when we get back." Hearing this, Xietian revealed a faint smile. No one knew his son better than his father. Xietian naturally knew his son's temper and also understood what the evil spirits were thinking. So he smiled and said this. Xietian didn't say anything else. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 23:56. Xietian had successfully awakened his only son, the evil spirits. The father and son and Yin Tong returned to the evil god palace together. When the three of them arrived at the evil god palace, Purple Snake, Chi Mei, and the other evil sovereigns were already waiting for them. They came to the main hall. This place used to belong to the Heaven Closing sect, but it was now the evil god palace's territory. Inside the main hall, Xietian was sitting in the main seat with the evil spirits and the other evil cultivators below him. Seeing the evil spirits awaken, the evil sovereigns all respectfully bowed. At the same time, they had smiles that were hard to hide on their faces. Even Tao Ming had to bow to the evil spirits. Tao Ming naturally didn't have any understanding of the name Xietian, so he wasn't as respectful as the other evil sovereigns. However, the situation forced him, and although he didn't care about the evil spirits, Tao Ming didn't dare show it at all. To be honest, in Tao Ming's eyes, the evil spirits were just a junior. To have him bow to a junior like Yang Chun, Tao Ming naturally wasn't willing to accept this. Everyone sat down, and Xie Tian said with a smile, "How is it in the great thousand world? What else can they do? They've surrounded the heaven closing sect. I think they want to kill us in the heaven closing sect, otherwise the flames of war would spread too far." Hearing this, Chi Mei said with a faint smile, "This was indeed a very charming woman, but the people sitting here weren't affected at all." Hearing this, Xie Tian also said with a faint smile, "I already expected them to do this, but whether they can do it or not will depend on their skills. Wanting to destroy my evil path in the heaven-closing sect, they really dare think about it." Xie Tian wanted to awaken his son, the evil spirits. Now that the evil spirits had awakened, it was time for the true decisive battle. Moreover, after the battlefield changed from the Flame Wind world to the Great Thousand world, Tenzu and the other emperors weren't as relaxed as before. Both sides would enter the rhythm of a life and death battle. But this was something that couldn't be avoided. As soon as his voice fell, Xie Tian paused before saying, "Then let's begin. Let's see who the final winner is." It was impossible not to fight. As soon as his voice fell, Xie Tian didn't say anything else. Everyone prepared to leave, but when everyone stood up and was about to leave, Xie Tian suddenly said to Tao Ming, "Tao Ming, you were the Emperor Venerable of the Great Thousand World before, so you have a good understanding of the Great Thousand World. My son has just woken up, so tell him the situation of the Great Thousand World." On the way here, the evil spirits had asked about the current situation of the boundless world, but Xie Tian didn't answer him at that time. He wanted Tao Ming to personally explain to the evil spirits, since Tao Ming was a traitor from the boundless world, so he naturally understood the boundless world the best. Hearing Xie Tian's words, Tao Ming did not dare reject and could only reply with a bow. This subordinate obeys. Tao Ming's attitude was very respectful, and in response, the evil spirits also gave a slight nod. The evil spirits' eyes also fell onto Tao Ming at this time. With Xie Tian's orders, the evil spirits and Tao Ming left the main hall together. While walking towards the evil spirits' residence, Tao Ming explained the situation of the Great Thousand World to the evil spirits. However, before he could finish, the evil spirits interrupted Tao Ming. "I'm not interested in what you're saying. Let's talk about the younger generation. Who is the strongest person in the Great Thousand World's younger generation?" Tao Ming had been talking about Tenzu and the emperors the entire way. It was clear that the evil spirits didn't care about this at all. In the eyes of the evil spirits, whether it was Tenzu or the emperors, they were all their father's opponents. The evil spirits' opponents were the monstrous geniuses of the Great Thousand World. In the past, the evil spirits had beaten the monstrous geniuses of the current generation into submission. After so many years, the evil spirits also wanted to see how strong the new generation of monstrous geniuses of the Great Thousand World were. Being interrupted by the evil spirits without any politeness, Tao Ming was naturally a little unhappy in his heart. However, he didn't dare say anything and just revealed a smile. There are only a few people in the Great Thousand World who are qualified to be called monstrous geniuses, and almost all of them are the sect masters of the 10 Great Ling Tian sects. They're all very strong, but there is no clear ranking for who is the strongest. However, this subordinate thinks that Xiao Chun should be the strongest among them. Tao Ming deliberately mentioned Xiao Chen's name not because he thought highly of Xiao Chun. On the contrary, Tao Ming wanted to get rid of him with a borrowed knife. Although he hadn't been in contact with the evil spirits for a long time, Tao Ming felt that the evil spirits were very competitive and even a little arrogant. From Tao Ming's performance and various actions, it wasn't difficult to see that the evil spirits looked down on the monstrous geniuses of the Great Thousand World. In the eyes of the evil spirits, they had always felt that the monstrous geniuses of the Great Thousand World were not worthy of being on equal footing with them. Otherwise, how could they have beaten up the monstrous geniuses of the Great Thousand World? Xiao Chun? Oh, in your opinion, is he really the strongest among the monstrous geniuses? The evil spirits softly muttered Xiao Qin's name and asked with disdain. Upon hearing the evil spirit's words, Tao Ming immediately nodded and said, "Indeed, in my opinion, the evil spirits can indeed be called the strongest among the younger generation. Even my disciple might not be a match for him." Tao Ming's disciple was naturally Yang Chun. The evil spirits smiled in response, but before they could say anything, Yang Chun happened to walk over from afar. When he saw Tao Ming, Yang Chun bowed respectfully and said, "Master, the evil spirits had just mentioned that Yang Chun wasn't a match for Xiao Chun a second ago, and now Yang Chun had appeared on his own." Hearing Yang Chun call Tao Ming master, the evil spirits glanced at Yang Chun indifferently and then spat out two words, "Ant." Even though the phantasms had been in hibernation for countless years, they had been completely sealed during this period of time, so they hadn't grown at all. Therefore, the phantasms could be considered as members of the younger generation. At this time, they actually called him an ant without any hesitation. When had Yang Chun ever been looked down upon by someone of the same generation? He immediately looked at the evil spirits with an unkind expression and said, "Who are you calling an ant?" Yang Chun was also a proud person, so his heart was filled with anger. However, at this time, Tao Ming immediately shouted out in a cold voice, "Audacious, this is Sir Xiezi. Yang Chun, don't be rude." Tao Ming did not like the arrogance of the evil spirits, but there was no other way. People under the eaves had to lower their heads. Yang Chun was currently looking at the evil spirits with an unkind gaze. If he angered the evil spirits, what would happen to Xie Tian's side? It had to be known that Tao Ming had just joined the evil path, and his foundation was not stable. If he wasn't careful, all his previous efforts would be wasted. So, Tao Ming could only tuck his tail between his legs. However, the evil spirits did not seem to care about Yang Chen's attitude. Hearing Yang Chen's words, the evil spirits softly asked, "Just now your master said that you are also a heavenly genius of the boundless world, but you can't compare to Xiao Chun. Is that true?" Begging for a monthly vote, begging for a recommendation. Chapter 2357. Yang Chun didn't like Phantasm very much, but because of Phantasm's status, Yang Chun didn't dare to lose his temper. In Yang Chun's opinion, Phantasm was about the same age as him, but the way he treated him was very disdainful, as if he were treating a servant. Even so, upon hearing Phantasm's words, Yang Chun suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "I've never lost to Xiao Chun. Our strength should be on par." Yang Chun's eyes flashed coldly when he heard the evil spirits mention Xiao Chun. After fighting with Xiao Chun so many times, Yang Chun had long regarded Xiao Chun as his greatest enemy. It was impossible for Yang Chun to admit that he was inferior to Xiao Chun. Yang Chun refused to admit that he was inferior to Xiao Chun. The evil spirits said faintly, "If that's the case, then it's disappointing. It seems that the younger generation of the Great Thousand World are all ants." The evil spirits would be disappointed if Xiao Chen's combat strength was on par with Yang Chen's. They had never seen Xiao Chun before, but Yang Chun was right in front of them. If their strength was on par, then the evil spirits had nothing to look forward to. There was a strong sense of disappointment in their words, as if the evil spirits were disappointed that their opponent was too weak. Yang Chen's eyes flashed coldly. Among his peers, he had never been looked down upon like this. Even Dao Zhu and the others had never looked down on him like this. As a supreme talent of the Great Thousand World, Yang Chun naturally had his own pride. He obviously could not swallow the fact that he was looked down upon by his peers, so he snorted coldly. "Humph, don't underestimate the supreme talents of the Great Thousand World. Otherwise, you'll be the one suffering." Although Yang Chun did not dare to do anything to the evil spirits, he still retorted when the evil spirits humiliated him like this. However, the evil spirits did not care about this at all. They only looked at Yang Chun with evil smiles. "You think the geniuses of the vast thousand domains are very strong. At least it's not as bad as you think, Yang Chun said coldly to the evil spirits. Seeing that Yang Chun was not convinced, the evil spirits said, since that's the case, I'll let you understand that in my eyes, the geniuses of the great thousand world are just a bunch of chickens and dogs. As soon as the evil spirits said this, Yang Chen's gaze instantly turned cold. The evil spirits were also concerned about this and laughed. Make your move. Since you were once a genius of the great thousand world, and your strength is on par with Xiao Chun, then let me see how strong a genius of the great thousand world is. The evil spirits gestured for Yang Chun to attack. Yang Chun was stunned, but the anger in his heart made it impossible for him to refuse. He was very clear about the identity of the evil spirits. However, if it was just a spar, there was nothing wrong with it. Therefore, Yang Chun nodded his head and agreed. Okay. The evil spirits took the initiative to spar with Yang Chun, and Yang Chun agreed. Originally, Yang Chun wanted to go to the fighting arena, but the evil spirits directly refused. There's no need to go through so much trouble. Anyway, it's just a matter of a few moves. The evil spirits did not agree to go to the fighting arena because it would end very quickly and Yang Chun was too weak. Naturally, these words made Yang Chun even angrier. From the beginning to the end, the evil spirits did not even look at him directly. Seeing this, Yang Chun was completely enraged. He looked coldly at the evil spirits and said, "Then I'll offend you. Don't worry, no matter if I win or lose, I will not target you. This Xie is not that weak." Hearing this, the evil spirits said. Hearing the evil spirits' words, Yang Chun did not say anything else. A terrifying aura rose from his body. At the same time, because of the evil spirits' disdain, Yang Chun decided to let them know that he was not an ant. Therefore, Yang Chun immediately used his Thunder King physique. Thunder King physique? Barely passable. The evil spirits saw through Yang Chun's Thunder King physique at a glance, but they were not shocked at all. They only described it as not bad. The evil spirits were looking down on him everywhere, and Yang Chun could not stand it the most. Therefore, when he heard the evil spirit's words, Yang Chun said in a deep voice, "Xie, be careful. Come." After saying this, Yang Chun's feet moved. His body instantly appeared in front of the evil spirits and fiercely punched out. In the face of Yang Chun's punch, the evil spirits did not dodge. There was no terrifying aura on their bodies. They slowly stretched out their hands and easily caught Yang Chun's punch. He had already used his Thunder King physique. Moreover, it was an attack filled with anger. He did not hold back at all. However, his punch was easily caught by the evil spirits. Facing such an outcome, Yang Chun naturally did not expect it. His face revealed a shocked expression. The evil spirits did not immediately attack. Instead, they directly let go of Yang Chun's fist and said indifferently, "It's even worse than I thought." Again, his words were still filled with disdain, but this time, Yang Chun didn't dare to be careless. The fact that Phantasm was able to withstand his punch with such ease made Yang Chun realize how powerful Phantasm was. It could be said that Phantasm was the strongest person he had ever met in his generation. Thunder King physique. With a deep roar, Yang Chun directly used his strongest move, the Thunder King physique. Previously, when he fought with Xiao Chun in Tong City, Yang Chun used the Thunder King physique. In the end, both sides suffered heavy injuries. The Thunder King physique was Yang Chun's strongest move. However, it was still the same. The evil spirit's expression did not change. Once again, Yang Chun threw a punch at the evil spirits. In the face of Yang Chun's punch, the evil spirits also unhurriedly stretched out their hands. However, this time, the palm of the evil spirits was surrounded by a dense blood aura. At the same time, an aura that far exceeded Yang Chun's soared into the sky from the evil spirit's body. As the fist and palm collided, Yang Chun's fist was once again caught by the evil spirits. At the same time, a huge force engulfed Yang Chun's body and sent him flying. 2 moves. In just 2 moves, Yang Chun was defeated by the evil spirits. Moreover, it was under the condition that he used the Thunder King physique. Moreover, Yang Chun keenly noticed that the evil spirits did not even move half a step from the beginning to the end. Their feet seemed to be rooted to the ground, firmly standing on the same spot. Yang Chun used his full strength, but in the end, he did not even have the ability to make the evil spirits move half a step. Although Yang Chun still had the strength to fight, this result made Yang Chun realize that there was a huge gap in strength between him and the evil spirits. The evil spirits did not attack again. They stood with their hands behind their back and looked at Yang Chun indifferently. Somewhat disappointing, after saying that, the evil spirits left with their hands behind their back. However, after taking a few steps, the evil spirits opened their mouth and said, "From now on, you will be by my side, begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations." Chapter 2358. The evil spirits defeated Yang Chun in 2 moves. Yang Chun was still in shock when he heard what the evil spirits said. Yang Chun had always been very confident in his talent and combat strength. Even when facing Xiao Chun, Yang Chun didn't feel that he was inferior in any way. However, when facing the evil spirits, Yang Chun felt powerless for the first time in his life. Although it was only 2 moves, Yang Chun knew very well that it wouldn't be difficult for the evil spirits to defeat him. They were about the same age, but the strength of the evil spirits was enough to crush Yang Chun. Yang Chun found it hard to accept, or rather, he didn't want to accept. Because of this, Yang Chun didn't pay any attention to the phantasm's words. The phantasm didn't seem to care about this either. As soon as he finished speaking, he strode away without waiting for Yang Chun's response. After exchanging blows with Yang Chun, the evil spirits had a preliminary understanding of the current younger generation of the Great Thousand World. To be honest, Yang Chun's strength had disappointed the evil spirits. There's no way to compare with that group of people back then. The evil spirits sighed softly as they returned to their residence alone. In the great battle between the good and evil back then, the evil spirits had suppressed all the geniuses in the Great Thousand World. However, at that time, anyone of the geniuses in the Great Thousand World was much stronger than Yang Chun. If what Yang Chun said was true, then the geniuses in the Great Thousand World were indeed far from what they had been back then. Even those monstrous geniuses back in the day were no match for the phantasms, let alone Yang Chun and the others. The evil spirits looked at the distant horizon with a trace of reminiscence in their eyes. "Wu Di, will there be another genius like you in this world who will fight with me again?" Wu Di was publicly acknowledged as the #1 genius of the younger generation in the Great Thousand World during the great battle between the good and evil. He was also the only one who could contend with the evil spirits. However, in the end, he was still defeated by the evil spirits. However, the evil spirits had never admitted that they had defeated Wu Di. They had always insisted that they were evenly matched with Wu Di. Moreover, the evil spirits didn't seem to be happy about defeating Wu Di. As soon as he finished speaking, the phantasm seemed to recall his final battle with Wu Di. That was the last time the 2 of them had fought, and also the last time Wu Di had made a move. After that battle, it was rumored that Wu Di had been killed by the phantasm. However, the evil spirits knew very well that this wasn't the case. Wu Di was the only person they had ever met who could stand shoulder to shoulder with him. However, in the final battle, Wu Di was ambushed by an evil cultivator at the most crucial moment. The evil spirits hadn't noticed and had used their full strength to kill Wu Di. If not for that ambush, Wu Di, perhaps you wouldn't have died. Thinking of this, the evil spirits' eyes exploded with towering hatred. They hated that evil cultivator for ambushing Wu Di. After the battle, the evil spirits had indeed personally killed that evil cultivator. The evil spirits didn't allow anyone to interfere in their battle with Wu Di. With the evil spirits' pride, they didn't need to rely on such despicable methods to defeat Wu Di. If they wanted to win, they had to win fair and square. Not to mention, the evil spirits and Wu Di weren't purely enemies. They were friends and enemies, and they admired each other. Therefore, The evil spirits wouldn't allow Wu Di to lose to them in such a humiliating manner. This was an insult to Wu Di and also an insult to themselves. Thinking back to the past, the hatred in their hearts was still difficult to quell. However, everything had already happened, and there was no way to change it. The evil spirits let out a mouthful of turbid air and bitterly smiled. It seems that I was wrong. There is no more Wu Di in this world. After saying that, Yang Chun walked into the courtyard. When he saw the evil spirits looking at the sky with their hands clasped behind their backs, Yang Chun didn't know why, but his heart trembled, and he even involuntarily knelt down. Yang Chun pays his respects to Xiezi. This kneeling wasn't because of the evil spirit's identity, but because of the aura that the evil spirits had inadvertently revealed. Yang Chun was shocked, but at the same time, he was completely convinced. He had never felt such an aura from a young man before. Was this a sovereign descending to the world? Yang Chun couldn't help but think in his heart. Just now, the evil spirits gave him the feeling of a sovereign descending to the world. Moreover, the evil spirits seemed to be able to control people's hearts, making them unconsciously submit to them. After hearing Yang Chen's words, the evil spirits came back to their senses. They glanced indifferently at Yang Chun, who was kneeling on the ground, and said without the slightest change in their expressions, "Get up. I don't like these empty formalities. In the future, if there is no need, you don't have to kneel down. You don't have to be restrained when you follow me, and you can do whatever you want." The evil spirits didn't have the slightest bit of arrogance, but the more they acted this way, the more Yang Chun was convinced. Yang Chun nodded respectfully, then slowly got up. "Go and get some maids and servants." The evil spirits had just awakened, and there were no maids by his side. Hearing this, Yang Chun nodded and strode out of the courtyard. They didn't know about the news of the evil spirit's reappearance. At this time, outside the Hitian mansion, after a discussion among the sovereigns, the major forces of the Great Thousand World had launched an attack on the Hitian mansion. The sovereigns knew very well that it was impossible to defeat the evil cultivators in one go, and they could only wear them down slowly. At the same time, the evil cultivators must also know about this, so it would be a long battle of life and death for them. Moreover, since the entire Hitian mansion had been controlled by the evil cultivators, the battlefield was divided into 9, with the Sword Sect and other Ling Tian sects taking charge. As the sect leader of the Sword Sect, Xiao Chun was naturally in charge of one of the battlefields. As for the sovereigns, they were in the middle, guarding against the evil cultivator. The only role of Jun Wuya and the other sovereigns was to fight against the evil cultivator, so they wouldn't take action unless the evil cultivator took action. Leading the many experts of the Sword Sect, Xiao Chun and the others entered the Hitian mansion. At this time, the Hitian mansion was completely different from before. The sky was filled with blood clouds, and the spiritual energy between heaven and earth was extremely mixed, filled with the smell of blood. The spiritual energy is so mixed. These evil cultivators can even change the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. They just mix the blood chi into the spiritual energy. You might think it's mixed, but to the evil cultivators, this is the purest spiritual energy. Because of the different cultivation methods, the spiritual energy required by the evil cultivators was very different from that of the orthodox cultivators. The spiritual energy that the evil cultivators liked the most was the spiritual energy that seemed mixed but was filled with the smell of blood. This kind of spiritual energy was simply a great supplement for the evil cultivators. Refining this kind of spiritual energy could allow the evil cultivators' cultivation to improve rapidly. And this was the fundamental reason why there were so many experts among the evil cultivators. "I'm not feeling well, so I'll only write 2 chapters today. After taking the medicine, I'm drowsy and can't hold on any longer. Brothers, please forgive me. I'll return to 4 chapters tomorrow." Chapter 2359. Xiao Chun and the others walked towards the depths of the Hitian mansion. The evil path cultivators in the outer regions had mostly been cleared out. Now, they were gradually entering the depths of the Hitian mansion. Xiao Chun and the others walked towards the depths of the Hetian mansion. The evil path cultivators in the outer regions had mostly been cleared out. Now, they were gradually entering the depths of the Hetian mansion. However, as they went deeper, the number of evil path cultivators around them increased. Moreover, their strength also increased. Once again, they clashed with a group of evil path cultivators. After an intense battle, although they managed to kill this group of evil path cultivators, the sword sect also suffered casualties. Bring back those who have died. After cleaning up the battlefield, Xiao Chun said to everyone. Those who were heavily injured or had already died naturally couldn't continue fighting. They could only bring them back to the sword sect's encampment to recuperate. After saying that, Xiao Chun turned his head to look at the corpses on the ground. He muttered softly, "They're already end-realm evil path cultivators." The place where Xiao Chun and the others were was far from the core of the Hetian mansion. They were still in the outer regions. However, even so, Xiao Chun and the others had already started to encounter end-realm evil path cultivators. After this series of battles, Xiao Chun also had a more comprehensive understanding of the strength of the evil path cultivators. There were definitely a lot of evil path cultivators. Compared to the Great Thousand World, there were even more end-realm almighties. Moreover, there seemed to be more end-realm almighties than the Great Thousand World. Of course, what gave Xiao Chun the biggest headache was that these evil path cultivators were like walking corpses. They didn't have any intelligence at all. They didn't know fear or pain. For example, in this battle, Xiao Chun's group of tens of thousands of people had encountered a few hundred evil path cultivators. These evil path cultivators actually dared to take the initiative to attack. In the end, dozens of people from the sword sect were killed and hundreds of people were heavily injured. Due to the fact that they were resurrected using a secret technique, these evil warriors were indeed very difficult to deal with. The sovereign's intention was to attack the Hetian mansion from different directions and slowly erode the strength of the evil warriors. However, the closer they got to the core of the Hetian mansion, the stronger the resistance Xiao Chun and the others encountered. Xiao Chun felt somewhat grave. This battle with the evil Dao cultivators would not be easy. However, this was an order from the sovereigns. Naturally, Xiao Chun did not have the right to refuse. After pondering for a moment, Xiao Chun asked, "We shouldn't be far from Tomb City, right?" Upon hearing Xiao Chun's words, Xinyuan Ling, who was at the side, opened his mouth and replied, "Yes, if there are no accidents, we'll arrive in 4 hours." Mausoleum City was Xiao Chun's first target. From the very beginning, Xiao Chun had gone straight for Mausoleum City. He planned to take Mausoleum City and use it as the headquarters of the sword sect in Hetian province. After resting for a while, Xiao Chun led his people to continue advancing towards Mausoleum City. No matter what, Mausoleum City had to be taken. While Xiao Chun and the others were attacking Mausoleum City, on the other side, the evil warriors were naturally facing the attack of the Great Thousand World. Naturally, they could not remain indifferent. They knew that the Great Thousand World had divided the Hetian Mansion into 9 battlefields led by the 9 Great Ling Tian sects to attack Hetian Province at the same time. For this reason, the evil warriors were also in charge of the 9 evil sovereigns. It just so happened that Qi Mei was in charge of the Sword Sect's battlefield. Within the Evil God Palace, Qi Mei already knew that the Sword Sect was about to attack Mausoleum City. In a luxurious palace, Qi Mei reclined on the bed. In front of her was a cultivator from the Great Thousand World. Following the arrival of the evil path, many cultivators in Hetian Province had chosen to surrender. This person in front of her was one of them. In order to survive, he had surrendered to the evil path. He did not dare to raise his head to look at Qi Mei because he knew how terrifying this woman was. In just a few days, tens of thousands of men had died at her hands. However, even if this person did not dare to look at Qi Mei, he still felt his mouth go dry in the face of Qi Mei's temptation. Only by calming himself down could he maintain a trace of clarity. This person's strength was not weak. He was at the comprehension realm and was now working under Qi Mei. Seeing this person's nervous appearance, Qi Mei smiled. "What, are you nervous?" Her voice was so soft that it could make one's imagination run wild. However, this person was incomparably nervous. No, no. Haha. Don't worry, I won't eat you. You said that the sword sect is about to reach Mausoleum City? Chi Mei smiled in response. Chi Mei had naturally been paying attention to the sword sect's movements. She was in charge of the battle against the sword sect, so she had already made preparations. In response to Chi Mei's question, the person respectfully nodded. Seeing this, Chi Mei waved her hand, indicating for him to withdraw. The sword sect was about to reach Mausoleum City. Chi Mei's smile became even more charming. She softly muttered, Mausoleum City is not a bad place. It's not bad to use it to destroy the sword sect. She had long since set up an ambush in Mausoleum City, waiting for Xiao Chun and the others to arrive. Under Chi Mei's deliberate planning, there were no less than 100,000 evil path cultivators around Mausoleum City. As long as Xiao Chun and the others dared to enter Mausoleum City, Chi Mei would be able to surround them and kill them. Chi Mei guessed that Xiao Chun and the others would definitely attack Mausoleum City. However, at the same time, Xiao Chun also guessed that Chi Mei would set up an ambush around Mausoleum City. However, even though both sides knew about this, they still went to Mausoleum City as usual. Because no matter what, Xiao Chun had to take Mausoleum City. Therefore, even though he knew that there was an ambush in Mausoleum City, Xiao Chun couldn't shrink back. It could be imagined that there would be an earth-shaking battle in Mausoleum City. However, it was unknown whether Chi Mei would exterminate the sword sect in Mausoleum City or whether Xiao Chun would lead the sword sect to successfully take Mausoleum City. For hours wasn't a long journey. Soon, Xiao Chun and the others saw the outline of Mausoleum City in the distance. However, they weren't in a hurry to attack. Xiao Chun first let everyone rest and reorganize, then asked Xin Yuanling, Big brother, are the others ready? This time, the sword sect wasn't the only force on the sword sect side to attack Heavenly Gate. There were other forces affiliated to the sword sect that were participating as well. However, only the experts of the sword sect were present. Xiao Chun gave the other forces other tasks. Xin Yuanling nodded slightly in response to Xiao Chun's question. Everything is ready. We can act at any time. Hearing Xin Yuanling's words, Xiao Chun turned his head and began to size up the entire Mausoleum City. After a long while, Xiao Chun softly muttered to himself, Mausoleum City is really a suitable place for an ambush. It's almost impossible to survive. However, it's precisely because of this that Mausoleum City must be taken. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2360. Looking at Mausoleum City, Xiao Chun couldn't help sighing. Mausoleum City was truly a place where one man could hold off 10,000 enemies. It was a city that had to be fought for. Because of this, Xiao Chun had clearly guessed that the corrupt path would have a large number of troops stationed here, but he still insisted on attacking Mausoleum City. Looking at Mausoleum City, Xiao Chun couldn't help sighing. Mausoleum City was truly a place where one man could hold off 10,000 enemies. It was a city that had to be fought for. Because of this, Xiao Chun had clearly guessed that the corrupt path would have a large number of troops stationed here, but he still insisted on attacking Mausoleum City. Once Mausoleum City was captured, it would be tantamount to hammering a nail into the Hetian Prefecture. At that time, the sword sect will be able to turn Mausoleum City into an impregnable pass that could be used to attack or retreat. As for those disciples who were injured in battle, they wouldn't need to withdraw from the Hetian Prefecture at any time. They could directly recuperate in Mausoleum City. Surrounded by mountains on both sides, there is only one path in a Mausoleum City. At the same time, following this path would allow one to smoothly enter the Hetian Prefecture. This was also why Mausoleum City was so important. This city has to be captured. It's the northern barrier of the Hetian Prefecture, said Long Qing. The Hetian Prefecture had once been the territory of the Dragon Palace. Long Qing was naturally even more clear about Mausoleum City's function. Although it was called a city, it was more like an impregnable pass that guarded the northern barrier of the Hetian Prefecture. If they wanted to destroy the corrupt path and attack the evil god palace, they had to capture this impregnable pass. Hearing Long Qing's words, Xiao Chen nodded heavily. Mausoleum City had to be captured. For this, no matter what price they had to pay, they couldn't shrink back. Everything had already been prepared. Xiao Chun had Xin Yuanling make the arrangements to attack Mausoleum City. Xiao Chun gave the order to attack. Within Mausoleum City, there were already tens of thousands of corrupt path cultivators waiting in formation. Furthermore, there were even more corrupt path cultivators in the mountains on both sides. These were naturally Qi Mei's handiwork. She knew that Xiao Chun was determined to take Mausoleum City. How could she not want to completely destroy the sword sect in Mausoleum City? Therefore, this time, Qi Mei completely used the Mausoleum City as a bait, waiting for Xiao Chun to attack, and a huge encirclement would be formed, completely blocking the retreat of Swords Gate. Both sides could see the importance of the Mausoleum City, and had also set up a large number of troops there. However, it was still unknown who would emerge victorious in the end. However, it was undeniable that the battle in the Mausoleum City was incomparably bitter. Xiao Chun gave the order to attack, and the members of the Sword Sect immediately launched an attack on Mausoleum City. Many experts of the Sword Sect rushed towards Mausoleum City, and at the same time, the evil warriors in Mausoleum City also met them. Both sides immediately engaged in a fierce battle. As expected, this Mausoleum City isn't so easy to take down. Just looking at the evil warriors in Mausoleum City, Xiao Chun knew that this battle wasn't going to be easy. Different from the evil warriors he faced before, the evil warriors in Mausoleum City were the elites of the evil path. They weren't weak, and there were many End Realm experts. At this moment, Xiao Chun was facing 3 End Realm evil warriors alone. Long Qing and Xin Yuanling were the same. However, even so, the Sword Sect didn't have much of an advantage in terms of End Realm experts. 3 End Realm evil warriors surrounded Xiao Chun. 2 of them were at the End Realm, and 1 was at the Small End Realm. Moreover, as the 3 of them didn't have any intelligence, their attacks were extremely vicious. At the same time, they weren't afraid of casualties. Xiao Chun naturally wouldn't exchange injuries with them. After all, in the current situation, Xiao Chun would definitely be at a disadvantage. Once his injuries were too heavy, the situation would be dangerous. While fighting, Xiao Chun was looking for a chance to kill one of them. However, just as both sides were fighting, terrifying blood energy surged into the sky from the mountain ranges on both sides. Ambush. There were evil path people lying in ambush on both sides of the mountain ranges. However, Xiao Chun's expression didn't change at all. How could Xiao Chun not be prepared to take down Mausoleum City? As expected, not long later, a huge battle erupted on both sides of the mountain ranges. These people were all subordinate powers of the Sword Sect, and Xiao Chun had specially arranged for them to be here. Before attacking, Xiao Chun had already understood the geography of Mausoleum City. He knew that it was easy to defend and hard to attack. Moreover, there were mountain ranges on both sides, and it was pretty much a natural protection. So, he predicted that the evil path would set up mansion soldiers on both sides of the mountain ranges. Xiao Chun also ordered the various subordinate powers of the Sword Sect to head to the mountain ranges on both sides of Mausoleum City to delay the evil path cultivators. As for the Sword Sect, they would directly attack and fight with the evil path cultivators. His judgment was not wrong. There were indeed ambushes on both sides of the mountain range. Now, the experts of the various affiliated forces were already engaged in a fierce battle with the evil cultivators. Therefore, the ambush set up by the evil cultivators on both sides of the mountain range would not affect Swords Gate for the time being. However, no matter if it was Xiao Chun or Qi Mei, these were just small tricks. What happened next would depend on the strength of both sides. After all the scheming and scheming, in the end, they still had to fight with their real weapons. Whether or not they could successfully take down the Mausoleum City would still depend on Swords Gate's own capabilities. They had already used all their methods, and now it would be a direct battle of strength. Not bothering about the battle on both sides of the mountain ranges, Xiao Qin's gaze landed on the three End Realm Evil Path cultivators. They have 6 more End Realm experts than the Sword Sect. Xiao Chun muttered with a solemn expression. Including himself, Xin Yuanling, and Long Qing, they were all fighting 1 against 3. In a situation where they were holding up 9 End Realm experts, the Evil Path had 6 more End Realm experts than the Sword Sect. At this moment, these 6 End Realm experts could be said to have no one stopping them, and they were wantonly slaughtering the Sword Sect disciples. 6 End Realm Evil Path cultivators were existences that couldn't be ignored. Naturally, they couldn't allow them to do as they pleased. Song Xing and the others were still in the Flame Wind world, so the number of End Realm experts in the Sword Sect was naturally lesser. However, he had no choice. This was what Xiao Chan had planned from the start. Now, he could only try his best to hold back these 6 End Realm Evil Path cultivators. Thinking about this, Xiao Chun looked at the 3 people in front of him, and a cold intent flashed in his eyes. At the same time, he directly used the Sword World, and his aura rose to the peak. He had to quickly deal with the 3 in front of him and then block the other 6. Otherwise, the 6 End Realm Evil Path cultivators would be a disaster for the Sword Sect. This was because normal Sword Sect disciples weren't the opponents of these End Realm Evil Path cultivators. Even the elders and Sword Sect elders wouldn't be able to block them. He directly attacked, and the Sword World was pushed to the extreme by Xiao Chun. Terrifying sword energy crazily raged. Facing the pressure and attacks of the Sword World, the 3 Evil Path cultivators didn't retreat and instead attacked Xiao Chun. Seeing this, Xiao Chun didn't retreat and instead advanced. He held the Wuchen sword in his hand and coldly hollered, "Great, I will kill one first." Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2361. Facing the attacks of 3 End Realm Evil Path experts, Xiao Chun didn't retreat. He held the Wuchen sword and charged towards one of them. Facing the attacks of 3 End Realm Evil Path experts, Xiao Chun didn't retreat. He held the Wuchen sword and charged towards one of them. If he had time, Xiao Chun definitely wouldn't choose to fight like this. After all, with Xiao Chen's strength, even if he was surrounded by 3 people, he would still be able to win. However, there wasn't enough time. There were 6 other End Realm Evil Path experts that no one could stop. Therefore, Xiao Chun had to get rid of the 3 people in front of him in the shortest amount of time. Because there wasn't enough time, Xiao Chun could only choose to fight head-on. Although he might be injured, this way he would be able to kill the 3 of them in the shortest amount of time. Xiao Chun had to kill the 3 of them in the shortest amount of time, even if he was injured. At the same time, facing Xiao Chen's attacks, the 3 Evil Path experts weren't afraid at all. They didn't have any intelligence and only knew how to listen to orders. Chimei's orders were to defend Mausoleum City to the death and kill all enemies. Therefore, when Xiao Chun took the initiative to attack, the 3 of them didn't dodge. The 3 Evil Path experts attacked at the same time. 3 attacks landed on Xiao Chun at almost the same time. Facing the attacks of the 3, Xiao Chen's eyes narrowed. Normally, Xiao Chun could easily dodge their attacks. However, now, Xiao Chun didn't choose to dodge. Instead, he chose to take it head-on. This was because once he chose to dodge, although Xiao Chun wouldn't be able to attack, he would lose the chance to attack. Time didn't allow for it, so he could only exchange injuries for a life. His eyes became colder and colder. Xiao Chun took the attacks of the 3 people head-on. The blood in his body surged. However, Xiao Chun grabbed this opportunity and slashed out. He directly used the Emperor's sword. The moment Xiao Chun attacked, he used the Emperor's sword. An azure sword light flashed. At such a close distance, the evil Dao cultivator that Xiao Chun had locked onto had no chance of dodging. That evil cultivator had indeed tried to defend himself, but he had been unable to defend himself. The Emperor's sword had easily broken through the evil cultivator's defense. Immediately after, that evil cultivator had been severely injured. However, Xiao Chun clearly did not want to be severely injured. Therefore, when the Emperor's sword was slashed out, Xiao Chun did not stop his movements. At this moment, the evil warrior who had just been severely injured by the Emperor's sword did not even have time to react before Xiao Chun had already appeared behind him. With a flick of his sword, he directly chopped off the evil warrior's head. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. In just a few breaths of time, Xiao Chun had successfully killed an End Realm evil warrior. However, for this, Xiao Chun had paid a huge price. It was not hard to tell from the blood flowing out from Xiao Chun's mouth. In order to quickly kill this evil cultivator, Xiao Chun took the attacks of the 3 people head-on. His blood was indeed surging. However, he had achieved his goal. However, when Xiao Chun looked at the other 5 End Realm evil warriors blocking him, his expression turned serious. At this moment, the 6 End Realm evil warriors had already killed many Sword Sect disciples because no one was blocking them. Seeing that the situation was bad, the various sword heads and elders of the Sword Sect also attacked together. Only then were they able to hold back the 6 evil warriors. Today, there were dozens of sword heads in the Sword Sect. However, it was still tough for them to fight against 6. After all, these 6 evil warriors were all End Realm experts. Luckily, there were enough sword heads and elders in the Sword Sect. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to hold back the 6 of them. However, even so, with Xiao Chun's eyesight, it wasn't hard for him to see that the sword heads and elders wouldn't be able to hold them back for long. I need to be faster. The situation was worse than he had thought. Xiao Chun had to quickly kill the 2 in front of him and block the 6 evil warriors. If not, there was no need to fight this battle. 6 End Realm experts, with no one stopping them. The effects they could cause were no joke. Thinking about that, Xiao Chun didn't hesitate and immediately attacked the remaining 2. He didn't give them any chance at all. Xiao Chun wanted to end the battle quickly. On the other side, the sword heads and elders of the Sword Sect were trying their best to block the 6 End Realm evil warriors. Xiao Chun, Long Qing, Xin Yuan Ling, and the other deputy sect leaders were all in a tough battle. No one was able to deal with the 6 evil warriors. The other elders and disciples weren't behind the 6 of them. Not to mention going up against them, they couldn't even take one move. With that, only the sword heads and elders could help to hold back the 6 of them. However, this wasn't a long-term plan. Although there were many sword heads and elders in the Sword Sect, there was still a huge gap between them and the End Realm evil warriors. The End Realm and Dao Realm couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. Damn it! A sword head elder spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he hollered. The head-on collision had caused the elder to be seriously injured, and this was only the result of one exchange. The injuries on his body were definitely very serious. However, at this moment, the elder had no choice but to brace himself and continue attacking. Even if he was heavily injured, he couldn't back off. Otherwise, once the 6 evil warriors charged into the battlefield, it would be a devastating blow to the Sword Sect. There were many others who were in the same situation as this Sword Gate elder. Almost all of the Sword Gate elders were severely injured. Blood trickled down from the corners of their mouths, and their breaths were in a state of chaos. Even so, they didn't have any intentions of giving up. They only hoped that Xiao Chun and the others could come quickly. If not, they wouldn't be able to block them. They risked their lives to hold back the 6 evil warriors. The other battlefields were the same. Not only the sword heads and elders, but even the normal disciples were in a tough battle. These evil warriors aren't afraid of death at all. An inner disciple panted as he spoke after killing an immortal Emperor Evil Path cultivator. He couldn't remember how many evil warriors he had killed. However, it didn't seem to affect the evil warriors at all. After killing one, more evil warriors would charge at you. Sect Master said that these Evil Path cultivators were resurrected using a secret method. They're no different from walking corpses. They don't have any intelligence and only know how to kill. Another disciple beside the first disciple answered. The 2 of them had a good relationship and had fought side by side on the battlefield. However, as soon as the first disciple finished speaking, the other disciple turned his head and saw an Evil Path cultivator suddenly rushing over. Seeing this, the first disciple roared furiously. Kill him. Be careful, begging to be collected. Autumn monthly ticket, begging to be recommended. Chapter 2362. On the battlefield, the slightest carelessness could lead to death. This was especially true when facing the evil warriors. This disciple had been distracted for a moment, and in the blink of an eye, an evil warrior had charged towards him. The situation was critical. At such a close distance, this disciple obviously had no chance of dodging. Furthermore, this evil path cultivator was at the small success Tao realm, and in terms of cultivation, he completely suppressed this sword sect disciple. I'm going to die. Hearing his companion shout, the disciple turned his head and saw the evil path cultivator charging towards him. At that moment, this was the only thought that appeared in the disciple's mind. He didn't even have time to stop him, and his entire person was scared silly. However, at the critical moment, a green sword light suddenly flashed by and killed this evil path cultivator on the spot. He was saved. At the very last moment, he was actually saved. He had escaped from death. The disciple immediately looked towards the direction of the person who saved him and shouted in surprise, "Senior Brotherly." The person who saved this disciple was none other than Li Suifeng. In such a tragic battle, no matter how lazy Li Suifeng was, he couldn't continue to be lazy. Facing this disciple's surprise, Li Suifeng only nodded slightly and said, "Be careful." After giving a simple warning, Li Suifeng's body flashed as he charged toward the evil path cultivator again. This disciple's luck wasn't bad, and he was saved by Li Suifeng at the last moment. However, many other disciples died at the hands of the evil path cultivators. They weren't so lucky, and no one came to save them, because no one had the time to care about others. One by one, the disciples of the famous sword sect and the evil warriors fell one after another. Both sides had people falling one after another. However, on this battlefield, they didn't even have the time to grieve. Even if their comrades fell, they still had to continue fighting. Countless disciples of the Sword's Gate had fallen, and even 2 elders of the Sword's Gate had been slain. "Damn it, we must stop him, stop him." Seeing the people beside him fall, a sword-head elder shouted in anger. He then charged towards the 6 End Realm evil path cultivators. They had to stop these 6 people. For this, they would not hesitate even if all the Sword Elder died in battle. Hearing the Sword Elder's words, the rest of the people also charged forward fearlessly. Xiao Chun had been paying attention to Elder Jinshi's situation. He was secretly anxious, but there was nothing he could do. Xiao Chun couldn't leave. He had already made up his mind to exchange injuries for lives. However, he was still unable to deal with the 2 evil path cultivators before him. It wasn't that Xiao Chun wasn't as strong as these 2 End Realm evil warriors, but that he didn't have enough time. Xiao Chun wasn't able to insta-kill these 2 evil path cultivators. If not, Xiao Chun wouldn't be risking his life to fight. Seeing the casualties on Elder Jinshi's side getting more and more serious, Xiao Chun became more and more anxious. If all the Sword Sect elders died, then even if the Sword Sect won this battle, it would be meaningless. After all, although Elder Jinshi wasn't a top expert in the Sword Sect, he was a cornerstone. Damn it! If my cultivation could break through, I would be able to insta-kill these 2. He couldn't help but curse in his heart. The one that gave Xiao Chun the biggest headache was still the small End Realm evil path cultivator. His cultivation was higher than Xiao Chun's by a small realm. So, many of Xiao Chun's killing moves were blocked by him. There were many times when Xiao Chun could have killed the other person first, but in the end he blocked them all. However, Xiao Chun couldn't do anything about it. He was anxious. If only he could break through to small End Realm. If their cultivations were the same, Xiao Chun would definitely be able to insta-kill this evil path cultivator. Just as Xiao Chun was thinking about that, the barrier of his cultivation actually loosened a little. Xiao Chun's cultivation had reached the limit of End Realm. Now, he actually felt a chance to break through. All of a sudden, Xiao Chun couldn't help but feel delighted. Breaking through to small End Realm. As long as he succeeded, then everything would be solved. However, this was the battlefield. To break through here, To forcefully break through on the battlefield, if one wasn't careful, the outcome would be unimaginable. However, after hesitating for a moment, Xiao Chun made his decision. No matter what, he had to break through to small end realm. Only then could he turn the situation around. Who cares? He said softly. Then, Xiao Chun started to break through the barrier of small end realm while fighting. Not only did he use his spiritual energy to attack, but Xiao Chun even used the intense battle with the two evil path cultivators to help him break through. He clashed head-on with the two of them, causing the vital energy in his body to surge. However, because of that, Xiao Chun could feel that his cultivation was rising, and he was just a thread away from small end realm. Sure, Xiao Chun was overjoyed when he sensed the changes in his powers. There was still hope. With hope, Xiao Chun's attacks became even fiercer. Whether or not he could break through to small end realm, whether or not he could turn the situation around, would depend on this. Xiao Chun chose to break through on the battlefield. If such a thing happened to other people, only a madman would dare to do it. However, Xiao Chun was a little stubborn, and could even be said to be a little stubborn. So, naturally, he wouldn't care about such things. Moreover, other than making a breakthrough in his cultivation, there was no other way. Therefore, no matter what, he had to give it a try. Xiao Chun went all out to break through to small end realm. Along with his cultivation rising, Xiao Chun's combat strength also became stronger and stronger. In the end, he felt that the barrier was starting to break. Xiao Chun swallowed a bunch of pills to replenish the spiritual energy in his body to help him break through. After the pills entered his stomach, Xiao Chun was still fighting with the two evil path cultivators. The two of them didn't have intelligence. If it was other people, they definitely wouldn't let Xiao Chun swallow pills so easily. Pure spiritual energy slashed open in Xiao Chun's body. Then, the barrier to small end realm was successfully opened. All of a sudden, the spiritual energy in Xiao Chun's body seemed to have broken through some kind of shackle and instantly rose. Xiao Chun's change in cultivation naturally caused many people to change. When the Sword Sect members saw that Xiao Chun had broken through, they were all delighted. Little brother broke through. Long Qing looked at Xiao Chun with uncontrollable joy on his face. Who knew that in such an intense battle, Xiao Chun would actually break through and reach small end realm? Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2363. Xiao Chun's cultivation had successfully broken through. Long Qing, Xinyuan Ling, and the others were naturally excited. No one expected Xiao Chun to be able to break through in the middle of a battle. Xiao Chun's cultivation had successfully broken through. Long Qing, Xinyuan Ling, and the others were naturally excited. No one expected Xiao Chun to be able to break through in the middle of a battle. After breaking through to the small perfection end realm, Xiao Chun's combat strength had increased by a large amount. Facing the two evil path cultivators in front of him, Xiao Chun was filled with killing intent. Die! Xiao Chun shouted and slashed towards one of them with his sword. He used the Emperor's sword. As his cultivation increased, the power of the Emperor's sword also increased. Xiao Chun swung his sword. The evil warrior wanted to block the attack, but he had underestimated Xiao Chun's strength. He was sent flying by the sword. After sending one person flying with one sword, Xiao Chun didn't stop. He moved and chased after the evil path cultivator. Let's kill one first. However, just as Xiao Chun attacked, the other evil path cultivator, who was also at the small perfection end realm, attacked Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun was indeed annoyed when the two of them teamed up. He did not have much time to tangle with the two of them, yet he was unable to kill them all in one hit. However, things are different now. Xiao Chun's strength was naturally much stronger than before after he made a breakthrough in his cultivation. Therefore, facing the other evil path cultivator's attack, Xiao Chun punched out and clashed with him. Xiao Chun successfully forced the evil path cultivator back. At the same time, he used the evil path cultivator's strength to attack the evil path cultivator who was heavily injured by his sword. Without giving the evil path cultivator any chance, Xiao Chen instantly appeared in front of him. He slashed out with his dustless Jian-E sword and killed the evil path cultivator on the spot. Originally, there were 3 End Realm evil path cultivators attacking Xiao Chen, but now 2 of them had died under Xiao Chen's sword. Only one was left. This made things much simpler. In a one-on-one situation, although the last evil path cultivator was also at the small perfection End Realm, he was much weaker than Xiao Chen. In terms of combat strength, the 2 of them couldn't be compared at all. As expected, not long after, Xiao Chen successfully killed this person. Then he didn't stop and directly attacked the other 6 End Realm evil path cultivators. These 6 people had been blocked by the Sword Sect Elders. However, after fighting for so long, the Sword Sect Elders were all heavily injured. 2 of them had even died. Looking at the situation, they probably wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Luckily, Xiao Chen killed the 3 people who were attacking him in time. Now, they were finally free. Just as one of the Sword Sect Elders was heavily injured and was about to be killed by the evil path cultivator, Xiao Chen arrived in time. He slashed out with his sword and successfully saved the Sword Sect Elder. At the same time, he forced the evil path cultivator to retreat. Sect leader. At the last moment, when even he thought that he was going to die, Xiao Chen arrived in time. Looking at Xiao Chen's back, the Sword Sect Elder said emotionally. When he heard his words, Xiao Chen said expressionlessly, "I will deal with this. Go." With the cultivation and strength of the Sword Sect Elders, it was obviously impossible for them to fight against an End Realm evil path cultivator. It was already not easy for them to delay for so long. When he heard Xiao Chen's words, the Sword Sect Elder didn't say anything. He turned around and left. He knew that with his strength, he couldn't help Xiao Chen at all. He might even drag Xiao Chen down. He told the Sword Sect Elders to find other opponents. As for the 6 End Realm evil path cultivators, he would let Xiao Chen deal with them himself. 1 against 6. As the Sword Sect Elders left, Xiao Chen looked at the 6 End Realm evil path cultivators in front of him. A cold smile appeared on his face as he muttered softly. 1 against 6, huh? That's really exciting. Xiao Chen couldn't help but feel a little excited about the fact that he was going to fight against 6 evil cultivators who were all in the End Realm. Compared to before, Xiao Chen was much more relaxed. After all, he didn't have to worry about anything else. Now that there were people dealing with the End Realm evil path cultivators, Xiao Chen had enough time to slowly play with the 6 of them. He didn't have to worry about other things like before. Only the 6 of them were left in his eyes. Along with Xiao Chen's words, the 6 of them all attacked Xiao Chen. Seeing this, Xiao Chen laughed. He didn't retreat and instead went forward. Haha, good. Using his own strength to fight against 6 End Realm evil path cultivators, Xiao Chen's battle fell into the eyes of the Sword Sect members. All of a sudden, the morale of the entire Sword Sect rose. First, he broke through in battle. Then he fought 1 against 6. Xiao Chen's performance greatly boosted the morale of the disciples and elders of the Sword Sect. Now that the biggest threat was blocked by Xiao Chen, the people of the Sword Sect could go all out and fight. However, compared to everyone's excitement, Long Qing, Xin Yuanling, and the others were worried. After all, Xiao Chen was fighting 1 against 6, and they didn't know if Xiao Chen could win. Because they were worried about Xiao Chen's safety, Long Qing, Xin Yuanling, and the other deputy sect leaders all wanted to quickly deal with the enemies in front of them and help Xiao Chen. Unfortunately, their strength couldn't be compared to Xiao Chen's. It was very difficult to end the battle in a short time. Xiao Chen was completely oblivious to everyone's thoughts. At this moment, he was already engaged in a fierce battle with the 6 evil warriors. Fighting against 6 alone was indeed very stressful for Xiao Chen, but it was precisely because of this that Xiao Chen became more and more courageous. The battle slowly entered a stalemate. Just at that moment, the space in the sky twisted. Then, a beautiful woman in a black dress appeared in the sky. This beautiful woman was none other than one of the evil sovereigns of the evil path, Qi Mei. Qi Mei suddenly appeared on the battlefield. and her eyes landed on Xiao Chun right away. Seeing Xiao Chun fight one against 6 end-realm evil path cultivators, Chi Mei revealed a charming smile. What a shocking little fellow. Even I can't bear to kill you. Chi Mei's smile was indeed very charming. However, just as she finished speaking, a slightly cold figure appeared. As expected, she couldn't help but attack. Along with the words, Luo Xing's body also appeared in the sky. The two of them looked at each other from afar. Chi Mei was naturally familiar with Luo Xing. The two of them had already fought in the Flame Wind world. As the only two females among the evil sovereigns, Luo Xing and Chi Mei were natural opponents. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2364. Both Chi Mei and Luo Xing could be said to be outstanding beauties, and their strength was also extremely terrifying. At this moment, Chi Mei looked at Luo Xing and smiled. Didn't you also appear? Why? Do you want to fight with me again? Looking at Chi Mei, she didn't seem to be enemies with Luo Xing, but rather friends. However, Luo Xing said coldly, not to fight, but to kill you. Luo Xing and Chi Mei had fought several times in the Flaming Wind boundary. The strength of the two women could be said to be on par. After a few battles, neither of them had the upper hand. It was also because of this that the two women wanted to kill each other, especially Luo Xing, who was filled with killing intent towards Chi Mei. Hearing Luo Xing's words, Chi Mei smiled charmingly, but her eyes were also bursting with killing intent. However, just as Chi Mei was about to focus all her attention on Luo Xing, an old man suddenly appeared behind Chi Mei without any warning. This old man was one of the sovereigns of the Great Thousand World, and also the skinny old man that Jun Wuya personally went to invite. Previously, no one had sensed the old man's existence, but now, the old man suddenly appeared and attacked Chi Mei directly. The old man had actually come with Luo Xing, but he did not appear before because he was waiting for this opportunity. With Luo Xing and Chi Mei's strength, it was basically impossible for Luo Xing to kill Chi Mei directly. Therefore, Luo Xing and the old man decided to launch a sneak attack this time. First, Luo Xing would appear and let Chi Mei think that she came alone. Then, the old man would find an opportunity to launch a sneak attack and kill Chi Mei, an evil sovereign, in one strike. Now that the old man had attacked and Chi Mei was unprepared, it was obvious that the two of them had almost succeeded. However, just as the old man's attack was about to hit Chi Mei, without any warning, an evil sovereign behind Chi Mei suddenly acted and helped Chi Mei block the old man's attack. A blood-red light formed a circular shield behind Chi Mei, successfully blocking the old man's attack. At the same time, a middle-aged man appeared out of thin air behind Chi Mei. Luo Xing and the old man were familiar with this middle-aged man. He was also an evil exalt from the evil Tao. The middle-aged man appeared, a mocking smile on his face. He looked at the elder and said, "You call yourselves from the righteous path, but when you do such sneaky things, you're not the slightest bit inferior to us corrupt path." The middle-aged man's words were filled with disdain and ridicule. His meaning was very clear. He was saying that the old man and Luo Xing actually wanted to sneak attack Chi Mei. Hearing the middle-aged man's words, the old man's expression didn't change at all. Instead, it was Chi Mei who sneered. "Luo Xing, your methods are a bit despicable. In order to kill me, you even used a sneak attack." Launching a sneak attack wasn't something to be proud of, but neither the old man nor Luo Xing cared about it. Luo Xing said indifferently after hearing Chi Mei, "If a sneak attack can kill you, I don't think there's anything despicable about it." The Great Thousand World and the evil Tao weren't just fighting on the stage. They were truly fighting to the death. As long as they could kill each other, they could use any method. Not to mention a sneak attack, even poisoning was nothing. Moreover, Chi Mei was an evil exalt from the evil Tao. If they could successfully launch a sneak attack and kill her today, it would be great news for the Great Thousand World. Therefore, there was no such thing as despicable or not. Moreover, Chi Mei also didn't come alone, and the middle-aged man from before didn't appear. In this way, Chi Mei probably also had the idea of sneak attack, but unfortunately, both sides didn't succeed. In order to kill each other, the process naturally didn't matter. Only the result mattered. In the sky, the four sovereigns and evil exalts gathered together. In a sneak attack, just now, no one had the upper hand. Luo Xing said indifferently. Then let's do it. Luo Xing immediately attacked Chi Mei. Seeing this, Chi Mei didn't retreat. Instead, she went forward to meet him. The old man and the middle-aged man did the same. Both of them attacked at the same time. In an instant, the four sovereigns were engaged in a fierce battle. Both Chi Mei and Luo Xing knew that once they took action, the other side would definitely take action as well. After all, whether it was the Great Thousand World or the Evil Path, it was impossible for them, the evil masters and venerable sovereigns, to attack the martial artists below. Otherwise, it would be a disaster for both sides. Therefore, Chi Mei and Luo Xing used sneak attacks at the same time to get rid of each other. Unfortunately, such a sneak attack didn't seem to have any effect because both sides had the same idea. The others naturally didn't have the qualifications to intervene in the battle between the four. Xiao Chun and the people from the sword sect had already noticed the appearance of the four, but they didn't have the time to care. At this time, the four of them were engaged in a fierce battle. They had all sealed the space to prevent the aftermath of the battle from affecting the people below. It could be said that they were old rivals. Therefore, when Luo Xing and Chi Mei fought, they used their killing moves. There was no need for those useless probing moves. Behind Chi Mei, there was a bloody aura, and behind Luo Xing, there was a crescent moon. Every time the two of them attacked, the terrifying power was shocking. In just a few breaths, the two of them had already exchanged hundreds of moves. However, looking at the current situation, the two of them were evenly matched. No one had the upper hand. The four sovereigns were engaged in a fierce battle. Below, Xiao Chun was also engaged in a fierce battle with the six end-realm evil Dao cultivators. Facing the six of them at the same time, Xiao Chun's body was indeed heavily injured. Fresh blood gradually dyed his clothes red. There was no other way. Fighting one against six, no matter how strong Xiao Chun was, it was impossible for him to be uninjured. However, although his injuries were getting more and more serious, and at this moment, Xiao Chun was even slashed in the back by one of them. Blood instantly spurted out. However, Xiao Chun didn't care about this at all. His gaze locked onto the evil Dao cultivator who had been heavily injured by him. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He moved his feet and shouted coldly, "Kill one first." This evil Dao cultivator had been specially taken care of by Xiao Chun from the start. At this moment, he was already heavily injured. At this moment, facing Xiao Chun's sure kill sword, this evil Dao cultivator naturally had no way to block it. Facing six end-realm evil Dao cultivators at the same time, killing one first was Xiao Chun's strategy. Because it was very difficult to kill all six of them at the same time, he could only kill the weaker one first. This way, the pressure on Xiao Chun would be reduced by a lot. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2365. Xiao Chun slashed out with his sword and killed the evil warrior in an instant. Xiao Chun fought against six of them alone and managed to kill one of them. However, Xiao Chun himself spat out a mouthful of blood. This was because when Xiao Chun killed this person, the other three evil warriors joined forces and launched an attack. They struck Xiao Chun's back fiercely. The huge force caused the blood in Xiao Chun's body to churn. Xiao Chun's physical body was strong. Otherwise, just this attack alone would have been enough to severely injure Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun couldn't help but charge forward for a long distance. After stabilizing his body, the other five evil warriors attacked Xiao Chun again before he could catch his breath. As they didn't have spiritual intelligence, these evil warriors were fighting with their lives. They didn't know fear at all. Even though Xiao Chun had already killed one of them, the remaining five were still fearless. He had no choice but to continue fighting with the 5 of them. However, with one less person, the pressure on Xiao Chun was indeed much less. At least, it wasn't as huge as before. They were originally worried about Xiao Chun. However, at this moment, not only did Xiao Chun kill one of them, but he was also evenly matched with the 5 of them. Long Qing, Xian Yuan Ling, and the others secretly heaved a sigh of relief. However, they were also shocked by Xiao Chen's strength. Looking at them, they felt that it was extremely strenuous to fight 1 against 3. However, Xiao Chun directly fought 1 against 6. Not only did he not lose, he even killed one of them. Such strength was far from what others could compare to. The sword realm was activated to the extreme. The biting cold aura caused many wounds on the 5 evil warriors. However, even so, the 5 evil warriors didn't seem to care at all. They forcefully resisted the pressure of the sword realm and fought fiercely with Xiao Chun. In order to win, Xiao Chun could only exchange injuries for lives. Not only would he reduce the number of enemies, but Xiao Chun also locked onto one of the evil warriors who was only at the end realm cultivation. This person's strength was on par with the evil warrior that he had just killed. He was also the weakest of the remaining 5. If he could kill him, the pressure on Xiao Chun would obviously be much less. However, with the 5 of them working together, Xiao Chun couldn't find a chance to attack. He could only choose to take the attacks of the other 4 head-on and launch a sure-kill attack on this person. Thinking of this, the killing intent in Xiao Chen's eyes continued to condense. He focused his attacks on this evil warrior. Being specially targeted by Xiao Chun, this evil warrior naturally couldn't resist and was quickly injured by Xiao Chun. However, it was one thing to injure him, but it wasn't so easy to kill him. As time passed, the injuries on this evil warrior's body became more and more obvious. Finding an opportunity, Xiao Chen's killing intent burst forth again. He pointed out with his finger, and a blood-red sword light went straight for this evil warrior. Facing Xiao Chen's attack, this evil warrior immediately put up a defense. However, under the attack of the blood-red sword light, his defense was quickly shattered. However, he also successfully blocked Xiao Chen's attack. However, Xiao Chun directly used the Emperor's sword. This time, facing Xiao Chen's attack, this evil warrior was completely unable to block it. He could only watch as the terrifying sword light enveloped him, and he was directly killed on the spot. Xiao Chun had killed another person, but the price he had to pay for this was also extremely high. Just as Xiao Chun killed this evil warrior, he was also hit by the other 4 people consecutively. His breathing had already become a little chaotic. At the same time, his face was extremely pale, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. His injuries weren't light, but he had successfully killed 2 people. There were only 4 people left. He was very clear that if he could kill these 6 end realm evil warriors, then there shouldn't be any problems in this battle. Taking down Mausoleum City would be logical. Forcefully bearing the intense pain in his body, Xiao Chun continued to fight with the 4 people. With only 4 people left, the pressure on Xiao Chun decreased once again. However, these 4 people were all at End Realm. Compared to the previous 2, these 4 people were obviously much stronger. So, all of a sudden, Xiao Chun couldn't find a good chance to kill these 4 people. Moreover, as the battle continued, especially to kill the previous 2 people, Xiao Chen's consumption was huge. The more time passed, the more difficult it was for him. At this time, no one could help Xiao Chun. Long Qing, Xin Yuan Ling, and the other deputy sect leaders were all in a tough battle. Especially Long Qing and Xin Yuan Ling. The 2 of them were fighting 1 against 3 evil warriors. Their strength wasn't as good as Xiao Chen's, so in a short time, Long Qing and Xin Yuan Ling couldn't free themselves. His clothes had long been dyed red by blood. However, Xiao Chun had to kill these 4 evil warriors. As long as he killed them, the result of this battle would be decided. The Sword Sect would be able to successfully take down Mausoleum City and gain a foothold in Hetian Manor. This would have a huge impact on the following battle. After all, if they couldn't take down Mausoleum City, then all of Xiao Chen's plans wouldn't be realized. The Sword Sect could only choose to retreat out of Hetian Manor and continue to slowly fight with the evil warriors. Xiao Chen's side forcefully held on, his attacks not weakening at all. In the sky, Luo Xing, Qi Mei, and the old man and middle-aged man were also engaged in an intense battle. However, it was obviously very difficult for these four Emperor Realm evil sovereigns to decide the victor. So, the four of them were doing their best to delay the other party. Otherwise, the other party would attack the people below. The battle had already entered a white-hot stage. As time passed, Xiao Chen's side finally killed all four of the evil warriors. His hair was a little messy and his aura was extremely weak. However, no matter what, Xiao Chen finally succeeded in killing these 6 evil warriors. In this battle, Xiao Chen consecutively killed 9 End Realm experts of the evil path. After the battle ended, Xiao Chen didn't have any more strength to fight. Even the arm holding the Wuchen sword couldn't help but tremble slightly. His consciousness also started to become blurry. Fortunately, Xin Yuanling's side ended the battle at this time. Just as Xiao Chen was about to fall from the sky, Xin Yuanling's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He appeared beside Xiao Chen and supported him. "How are you? Are you okay?" Feeling Xiao Chen's weak aura, Xin Yuanling asked with concern. At this moment, Xiao Chen's injuries weren't light. It could even be said that he was almost killed. Xiao Chen was also very clear about his own situation. However, the result was still good. Revealing a forced smile, Xiao Chen shook his head. "I can still hold on. There shouldn't be any problems from now on." Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2366. Killing 9 End Realm experts from the evil path. Such an achievement was enough to make one's jaw drop. Although Xiao Chen was heavily injured and had no fighting ability, because Xiao Chen killed 9 people in a row, the situation was slowly tilting towards the Sword Sect. Killing 9 End Realm experts from the evil path. Such an achievement was definitely enough to make one's jaw drop. Although Xiao Chen was heavily injured and had no fighting ability, because Xiao Chen killed 9 people in a row, the situation was slowly tilting towards the Sword Sect. Originally, the evil path had more End Realm experts than the Sword Sect, and this was specially arranged by Qi Mei to defend Mausoleum City. Unfortunately, after the 9 End Realm experts were killed by Xiao Chen, the number of End Realm experts on both sides had completely flipped. Now, it was the Sword Sect's turn to have more End Realm experts than the evil path. With that, the chances of the Sword Sect taking down Mausoleum City had increased by a lot. Forcefully supporting his body, with Xin Yuanling's help, Xiao Chen's gaze slowly swept across the battlefield. Now, the situation was slowly tilting towards the Sword Sect, and the disciples of the Sword Sect were starting to suppress the evil path. He didn't continue to attack, or rather, Xiao Chen didn't have any strength left. The spiritual energy in his body was close to dry, and there were waves of intense pain coming from all parts of his body. In such a state, he couldn't continue to fight. After swallowing a healing pill, Xiao Chen only needed to wait for the battle to end. After killing 9 End Realm experts, Xiao Chen's mission was completed. What Xiao Chen needed to do now was to patiently wait for the battle to end. Xin Yuanling was in charge of taking care of Xiao Chen. At the same time, in the sky, Qi Mei, Luo Xing, and the others who were in an intense battle also noticed the changes below. After seeing Xiao Chen kill 9 End Realm evil warriors in a row, Qi Mei's face turned gloomy. 9 End Realm experts. This wasn't some random trash. Although the evil faction had many End Realm experts, they couldn't handle such losses. In just one battle, 9 End Realm experts had died at Xiao Chen's hands. Such a price made even Qi Mei feel pained. However, this wasn't the most important thing. After losing 9 End Realm experts, could Mausoleum City still defend? Qi Mei's complexion turned ugly. She was fully prepared for the Battle of Mausoleum City. But who would have thought that the situation would turn out like this? It could be said that the reason for this battle was entirely because of Xiao Chen. Qi Mei had underestimated Xiao Chun and didn't expect Xiao Chun to be so strong. If not, without Xiao Chun, the sword sect definitely wouldn't have been able to take down Mausoleum City. They might have even paid a heavy price here. However, because Xiao Chun had killed 9 of their End Realm experts, the situation had changed. After losing 9 of their End Realm experts, the pressure on Sword's Gate had lessened by quite a bit. Damn it, she cursed in her heart. At this moment, Qi Mei naturally couldn't remain relaxed. The importance of Mausoleum City was self-explanatory, and Qi Mei was clear about that. Once they lost this battle and lost Mausoleum City, it would be difficult to take it back. She was furious, but there was nothing she could do. This was because Luo Xing was holding her back and didn't give her any chance. As they say, some people were happy while others were sad. Compared to Qi Mei's rage, Luo Xing was much more relaxed. Luo Xing was also paying attention to the battle below. After seeing Xiao Chun kill 9 people in a row, Luo Xing's mood improved and she felt much more relaxed. Based on the current situation, Mausoleum City should be within her reach. As for herself, she just needed to hold Qi Mei back and not give her any chance to attack. With that, Mausoleum City would be in the hands of the Sword Sect. She heaved a sigh of relief. Luo Xing continued to exchange blows with Qi Mei and waited for the outcome of the battle below. They were all clear that if nothing unexpected happened, the outcome of the battle was basically set. Especially after Long Qing killed the 3 End Realm Evil Path experts, the morale of the Sword Sect rose. They basically didn't have much strength to resist. As for the other Evil Path experts, they were being killed by the Sword Sect experts. In order to quickly end the battle, Xiao Chun swallowed a healing pill. After his injuries were under control, he said to Xin Yuanling, "Big brother, don't worry about me. Quickly end the battle in case anything happens." Xiao Chun indicated that Xin Yuanling didn't need to stay here to take care of him. Hearing Xiao Chun's words, Xin Yuanling said worriedly, "Are you really okay?" "Don't worry, big brother, just go. I'm fine here." Hearing this, Xiao Chun nodded. Hearing Xiao Chun's words, Xin Yuanling didn't say anything else. He first brought Xiao Chun to the back of the battlefield, a safe place. Then, Xin Yuanling joined the battle once more. With the addition of Xin Yuanling and Long Qing, the evil path situation became even worse. Although Xin Yuanling and Long Qing's combat strength wasn't as abnormal as Xiao Chen's, after breaking through to the End Realm, their strength had already surpassed the various deputy sect leaders of the Sword Sect. After all, Long Qing and Xin Yuanling were both geniuses and monsters. Their combat strength was also extremely strong. As such, under their leadership, the Evil Path experts found it harder and harder to resist. The Sword Sect also continued to push towards Mausoleum City. The Evil Path experts found it harder and harder to resist, and they became weaker and weaker. Not long later, many disciples of the Sword Sect charged into Mausoleum City. Although there were still some Evil Path experts stubbornly resisting in Mausoleum City, such resistance was no longer a threat to the Sword Sect. They gradually occupied Mausoleum City, and the final outcome was set. In the Battle of Mausoleum City, with Xiao Chen's strength, the Sword Sect successfully won and took over Mausoleum City. Although Qi Mei was unwilling to accept this result, there was nothing she could do. She wanted to stop Luo Xing, but Luo Xing didn't give her the chance. Seeing that Mausoleum City had successfully fallen into the hands of the Sword Sect, Qi Mei also knew that there was no point in continuing to fight. If she continued to be entangled here, Qi Mei would be in danger. Who knew when the other sovereigns of the Great Thousand World would appear? Moreover, there were so many experts of the Sword Sect here. If she was surrounded, even Qi Mei would find it difficult to escape. Qi Mei looked deeply at Xiao Chun below, and a cold light flashed in her eyes. She said coldly, "Xiao Chun, I will remember you." As her voice fell, Qi Mei didn't hesitate. After clashing with Luo Xing's palm, she chose to retreat. Luo Xing didn't have much intention to stop her. After all, if Qi Mei wanted to leave, Luo Xing couldn't stop her. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2367. May chose to leave. Mausoleum City had already been taken down by the Sword Sect, so there was no point in staying. Luo Xing didn't stop her either. May chose to leave. Mausoleum City had already been taken down by the Sword Sect, so there was no point in staying. Luo Xing didn't stop her either. Along with May leaving, the middle-aged man did the same. The evil path cultivators in Mausoleum City also received May's orders to give up on resisting and retreat out of the city. The evil path side totally gave up on Mausoleum City and didn't resist anymore. Just like that, Mausoleum City fell into the hands of the Sword Sect. Outside the city gates, Xiaochen slowly walked in with the help of Gu Lingyao, Tianyu, and Hong Xiao. Although his injuries had stabilized, Xiaochen was still extremely weak. However, at this time, Xiaochen was a little worried about Gu Lingyao and the others. The three of them were all injured in this battle. Seeing that they were all injured, Xiaochen's heart ached as he asked, "How are you? Are you okay? What can happen to us? They're all superficial wounds." Hearing this, Tianyu said expressionlessly, "That's right. We aren't like some people who can kill 9 end realm experts by themselves." When she heard Tianyu's words, Gu Lingyao smiled and said, "The three women were indeed fine. Although they were injured, it wasn't serious. They were only superficial wounds." Hearing this, Xiaochen relaxed. However, seeing the blood at the corners of their mouths, Xiaochen couldn't help but feel heartache. According to Xiaochen, the three of them didn't need to do this. However, this time, Gu Lingyao and the others had to stay by Xiaochen's side no matter what. Even Qin Shiru and Gu Lingyao would probably do the same if it wasn't for Xiao Yao and Xiao Lao. After entering the city, Xiaochen left the rest of the matters to Long Qing, Xin Yuanling, and the other deputy sect leaders. He began to recuperate in seclusion under the care of Gu Lingyao and the other two ladies. In the end, the Sword Sect won the battle. However, they paid a huge price. The number of disciples who died wasn't small. Even Xiaochen was heavily injured. However, the final result was enough to make many people excited. As the Sword Sect successfully took down Mausoleum City, the news quickly spread throughout the Great Thousand World. Luo Xing and the old man stayed in Mausoleum City. On the other side, Jun Wuya and the other sovereigns also knew the result of the battle in Mausoleum City. After confirming that the Sword Sect had won the battle and successfully took down Mausoleum City, the sovereigns were overjoyed. The importance of Mausoleum City was self-evident. Now that the Sword Sect had successfully taken down Mausoleum City, it would have a significant impact on the subsequent battle. Yun Tiany's attack didn't seem to be going very well, right? After rejoicing, the sovereigns gathered together to discuss the next deployment. At this time, Dao Xiong took the lead to speak. Yun Tiany led Mu Tian Mountain to attack Hitian Prefecture. However, unlike the Sword Sect, Yun Tiany's attack didn't go well. He even suffered a lot at the hands of the evil path cultivators. Hearing Dao Xiong's words, the patriarch of Mu Tian Mountain, Yun Chen's expression turned ugly, but he still nodded and said, "Indeed, it didn't go very well." This was the truth, and Yun Chen had nothing to say. Seeing this, Dao Xiong continued, "Send Yun Tiany and the others to Mausoleum City. Mausoleum City is very important, and we can't afford to lose it. I'm worried that the evil path will counterattack." Since they had already taken down Mausoleum City, the next step was to defend it. As such, Dao Xiong proposed to send many experts from Mu Tian Mountain to Mausoleum City to assist the Sword Sect in their defense. The other sovereigns nodded in agreement with Dao Xiong's proposal without much hesitation. Even Yin Chun didn't have much objection. After all, what Dao Xiong said made sense. His tone suggested that Yun Tiany and the others continued to be entangled with the evil path, and progress would be slow. It was better to send them to Mausoleum City to assist the Sword Sect. The matter was quickly settled, and Yun Chun personally sent a message to Yun Tiany in front of all the sovereigns, asking him to bring people to Mausoleum City to assist the Sword Sect in defending against the evil path's counterattack. The great Thousand Worlds side quickly responded. Within the evil god palace, Chi Mei, who had suffered defeat, was in an extremely bad mood. You killed 9 of my End Realm experts. Xiao Chun, you're asking for death. Chi Mei said coldly as she sat alone in the palace. In Chi Mei's eyes, the reason why the evil path lost in the Battle of Mausoleum City was because of Xiao Chun. If not for Xiao Chun killing 9 of her End Realm experts, it would have been impossible for the Sword Sect to take down Mausoleum City. Now, not only did they suffer heavy losses, they even lost Mausoleum City. Chi Mei couldn't imagine how much face she would lose in front of the other evil sovereigns after losing Mausoleum City. Chi Mei was furious. On the other side, within the evil god palace, where the evil spirits stayed, the evil spirits were sitting cross-legged on mats with their eyes closed as usual. At this moment, Yang Chun quickly walked in front of the evil spirits and called out softly, "Xiezi." Ever since he was defeated by the evil spirits in 2 moves, Yang Chun had been following beside the evil spirits. After a period of time, Yang Chun was completely conquered by the evil spirits. He listened to everything the evil spirits said and worshipped them. He called out to the evil spirits softly. Hearing Yang Chun's call, the evil spirits slowly opened their eyes. Seeing this, Yang Chun also said softly, "Xiezi, the results of the Battle of Mausoleum City are out." "Oh, what do you think?" the phantasm asked with a hint of interest in his eyes. Facing the evil spirit's question, Yang Chun naturally wouldn't hide anything and immediately told Xiezi everything he knew. Mausoleum City was lost to the Sword Sect. Our evil path also suffered heavy losses because the Sword Sect leader, Xiao Chun, killed 9 of our End Realm experts. The Sword Sect successfully took down Mausoleum City and caused the evil path to suffer heavy losses. The reason was because Xiao Chun killed 9 End Realm experts. Hearing Yang Chun's words, the evil spirits didn't show any signs of anger. It was as though the loss of Mausoleum City had nothing to do with them. However, the evil spirits were interested in Xiao Chun. With a faint smile, the evil spirits chuckled, killing 9 End Realm experts in a row. Interesting. After muttering to himself, he turned to look at Yang Chun, seemingly asking for his opinion. "Do you think I should personally make a trip to Mausoleum City? I am very interested in Xiao Chun. To be able to kill 9 End Realm experts in a row, he should have some strength." Hearing the evil spirit's words, Yang Chun was stunned. To be honest, Yang Chun wasn't convinced by Xiao Chun. However, he had to admit that Xiao Chun's performance in the Battle of Mausoleum City had indeed shocked him. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. End of chapter. Chapter 2368. Yang Chun knew that he wouldn't be able to kill 9 End Realm experts in a row. Although he wasn't convinced, Yang Chun had to admit that Xiao Chun's strength was indeed terrifying. Could it be that Xiao Chun's strength has already surpassed the other geniuses? Yang Chun couldn't help but think. As if seeing through Yang Chun's thoughts, the evil spirits asked softly, "Why, you can't figure it out?" "No." Hearing this, Yang Chun shook his head and said. Yang Chun naturally wasn't willing to admit that Xiao Chun was stronger than him. This was because Yang Chun had always treated Xiao Chun as his greatest opponent. Yang Chun couldn't accept that Xiao Chun's strength surpassed his. However, the evil spirits could tell that Yang Chun was forcing himself. Not to mention other things, just the fact that Xiao Chun killed 9 End Realm experts in a row wasn't something that Yang Chun could do. Therefore, although they hadn't seen Xiao Chun, the evil spirits were sure that Xiao Chun's strength was definitely above Yang Chun's. A faint smile appeared on the evil spirits' face. It was as if they were talking to themselves, but also as if they were talking to Yang Chun. There's nothing to be unconvinced about. It's a fact that he's stronger than you. Maybe you think that Xiao Chun's strength was on par with yours, but don't forget that most of the time, when you reach the true peak, only one person can pass. There are so many geniuses in the world. Maybe everyone's strength was on par before, but as time passes, there will definitely be someone who stands out and surpasses everyone else. There's no first place in literature, and there's no second place in martial arts. After saying that, the evil spirits didn't say anything else. After saying that, they closed their eyes and started to cultivate again. Get ready, I'm going to make a trip to Mausoleum City personally. The evil spirits wanted to personally head to Tomb City. Needless to say, this was naturally for Shao Chun. Hearing this, Yang Chun felt complicated, but he still respectfully nodded. Shao Chun had completely attracted the attention of the evil spirits. On the other side, in Mausoleum City, after taking down Mausoleum City, the members of the Sword Sect stayed in the city to rest and reorganize. At the same time, they also killed all the remaining evil warriors. Currently, Mausoleum City was completely under the control of the Sword Sect. However, Mausoleum City was indeed in a miserable state. The original residents of the city had long been killed by the evil warriors. When the Sword Sect took over Mausoleum City was like an empty city. However, Shao Chun could only sigh inwardly. There was nothing he could do about it. Moreover, because his injuries were too severe, Shao Chun didn't have time to care about anything else and chose to go into seclusion to cultivate. Now that he was in the Hitian prefecture, who knew when the evil warriors would attack? Shao Chun had to quickly recover from his injuries. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a good thing to be injured. If Shao Chun's injuries weren't healed in the next battle, it would obviously be very troublesome. After handing over the matters of Mausoleum City to Long Qing, Xin Yuanling, and the others, Shao Chun went into seclusion to heal his injuries. A few days later, Yun Tianyi led the many experts of Mutian Mountain and finally arrived at Mausoleum City. When he received Yun Chen's message, Yun Tianyi didn't delay and immediately turned around and rushed towards Mausoleum City. Moreover, along the way, Yun Tianyi was also shocked. Shao Chun killed 9 End Realm evil warriors in a row, which made Yun Tianyi secretly exclaim in admiration. He was shocked by Shao Chun's powerful strength. Yun Tianyi also knew that Shao Chun's strength had probably surpassed his. Therefore, when he arrived at Mausoleum City, Yun Tianyi's attitude was also very low-key. Although Mutian Mountain and the Sword Sect had some conflicts previously, Mutian Mountain had always been firmly on the side of Hitian Sect. Therefore, the relationship between Mutian Mountain and the Sword Sect wasn't harmonious. It could even be said that they were enemies. However, now, because of the battle between good and evil, in addition to the strength that Shao Chun had displayed, Yun Tianyi was very polite to the people of the Sword Sect. At this time, the side of the Great Thousand World couldn't afford any internal strife. This was also specially instructed by Yun Chen beforehand. Yun Tianyi led the experts of Mutian Mountain into Mausoleum City and worked together with the Sword Sect to guard Mausoleum City and prevent the evil path from counterattacking. After settling the people of Mutian Mountain, as the sect leader of Mutian Mountain, Yun Tianyi was naturally invited to the City Lord's Manor by Long Qing, Xin Yuanling, and the others. In the hall, everyone took their seats. Yun Tianyi also asked about Shao Chun's situation. Brother Xin Yuan, how is Brother Shao? I heard that he killed 9 End Realm Almighties in a row. I really admire him. Brother Yun, you must be joking. However, the sect leader is now in seclusion. It will probably be some time before he can meet Brother Yun, Xin Yuanling replied with a smile. Shao Chun was in seclusion to recuperate, so he naturally couldn't meet Yun Tianyi personally. Yun Tianyi also expressed his understanding towards this. Then, Yun Tianyi and Xin Yuanling discussed the following defensive matters. According to Xin Yuanling, the Sword Sect hoped that Mu Tianshan would take on the job of defending Mausoleum City. This was because after this battle, there were indeed many people in the Sword Sect who were injured and urgently needed to rest for a period of time. Therefore, they could only hope that Mu Tianshan would work harder during this period of time. Yun Tianyi didn't reject this. Although Yun Tianyi didn't personally participate in the Battle of Mausoleum City, he could imagine how tragic it was. Moreover, in the Battle of Mausoleum City, the evil path was obviously stronger than the Sword Sect. If it wasn't for Shao Qin's powerful strength that killed 9 End Realm Almighties in a row, the Sword Sect probably wouldn't have been able to win. Since the Sword Sect had successfully taken down Mausoleum City after such a tragic battle, it was reasonable for Mu Tianshan to take on the task of defending Mausoleum City. Moreover, Yin Tianyi was also very clear about how important Mausoleum City was to the Great Thousand World. After all, Luo Xing and the old man were still in Mausoleum City. They had purposely left 2 emperors to guard Mausoleum City. From this, one could see how much importance the emperors placed on Mausoleum City. This was a nail that was nailed into the Hetian Prefecture. As long as they had Mausoleum City in their hands, the Great Thousand World would have the power to attack. They would be able to attack the evil God Palace from Mausoleum City. Yun Tianyi immediately agreed and gave Xianyuan Ling many healing pills. Of course, these healing pills didn't belong to Yun Tianyi and Mu Tianshan. Instead, the emperors asked Yun Tianyi to pass them to the Sword Sect. After all, after such a huge battle, the Sword Sect would definitely be lacking in healing pills. The emperors naturally had to help, begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2369. Yin Tianyi's attitude was very friendly. As a result, the disciples of the Sword Sect and Mu Tian Mountain did not have any conflicts. Moreover, under Yin Tianyi's orders, the disciples of Mu Tian Mountain quickly took over the task of defending the city. This gave the disciples of the Sword Sect some time to rest. Yin Tianyi's attitude was very friendly. As a result, the disciples of the Sword Sect and Mu Tian Mountain naturally did not have any conflicts. Moreover, under Yun Tianyi's orders, the disciples of Mu Tian Mountain quickly took over the task of defending the city. This gave the disciples of the Sword Sect some time to rest. They could finally relax. At the same time, Xianyuan Ling immediately distributed the healing pills given by the sovereigns. He ensured that every disciple of the Sword Sect would receive a sufficient amount of healing pills to recover from their injuries in the shortest amount of time. The situation in Mausoleum City quickly stabilized. On Shao Chen's side, under the care and company of Guling Yao and the other 2 girls, Shao Chen's injuries were also quickly recovering. With sufficient healing pills, and their grades were not low, in addition to the fact that Shao Chen's physical body was very strong, his originally serious injuries were greatly improved in just a few days. Furthermore, Shao Chun took advantage of the time he took to heal himself to completely stabilize his cultivation base. Currently, Shao Chen's cultivation base had already surpassed that of the other geniuses of the Great Thousand World. For example, Yin Tianyi's cultivation was now at the Greater End Realm, but Shao Chen's cultivation was already at the Lesser End Realm. It could be said that the other geniuses of the Great Thousand World were obviously no match for Shao Chun. It was basically impossible for anyone to defeat Shao Chun, who was of a higher level. Shao Chun had never been defeated by someone of a higher level. Guling Yao and the other 2 girls breathed a sigh of relief as their injuries continued to heal. At the same time, the 3 girls also sent a message back to the Sword Sect, telling Qin Shu and Flower Fairy not to worry too much as Shao Chun was fine. Time passed day by day, and in the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. During this time, the emperors had no intention of continuing their attack. They only ordered Shao Chun and Yun Tianyi to guard Mausoleum City. For this reason, Dan Xinyang had personally rushed to Mausoleum City. As a result, Mausoleum City was now guarded by 3 emperors. In the courtyard, Shao Chen's injuries had more or less recovered. Today, Yun Tianyi was sitting in the courtyard drinking tea and chatting. A few days ago, Shao Chun had met Yun Tianyi. After a few days of interaction, the 2 of them had become more familiar with each other. Yun Tianyi personally poured a cup of tea for Shao Chun and said with a smile, "Shao Chun has become famous after this battle." The other guys are probably shocked. Hearing Yun Tianyi's words, Shao Chun smiled and did not say anything. Seeing this, Yun Tianyi also withdrew his smile and said seriously, "Brother Shao, have you heard about what happened in Leaping Tiger City?" Leaping Tiger City? Hearing Yun Tiany's words, Xiao Chen nodded and said, "Of course I have heard about such a big matter." Leaping Tiger City was now the focus of the battle between the Great Thousand World and the Evil Path. It was also a city that the emperors were eager to take down. Like Mausoleum City, Leaping Tiger City was also a city with a very strategic position. It was located on the east and west of Mausoleum City. It could be said that if they could take down Leaping Tiger City, they would be able to coordinate with Mausoleum City, which would be very helpful in the upcoming battle. It was also because Leaping Tiger City's strategic significance was not inferior to Mausoleum City that most of the forces of the Great Thousand World had gathered around Leaping Tiger City. At the same time, the Evil Path was the same. It could be said that the scale of the battle in Leaping Tiger City had far exceeded that of Mausoleum City. Saber Sect, Moon Palace, Heavenly Policy Mansion, Heavenly Ean Tower, the Great Thousand World's 10 Great Ling Tian sects, and dozens of other forces of various sizes had gathered in Leaping Tiger City. After gathering such a strong force, the Emperor's purpose was to take down Leaping Tiger City in one fell swoop and make arrangements for the upcoming battle. Perhaps it was because of Leaping Tiger City that the emperors did not give the order to continue attacking Mausoleum City. After all, the most important thing now was Leaping Tiger City. Speaking of Leaping Tiger City, Yun Tiany could not help but sigh. I wonder how the battle in Leaping Tiger City will turn out. Leaping Tiger City is beyond our reach. Even if we want to help, there's nothing we can do. Now, the most important thing for us is to guard Mausoleum City, Xiao Chen said. Indeed, Leaping Tiger City could not intervene. Moreover, Mausoleum City was no less important than Leaping Tiger City. It could be said that the burden on Xiao Chen and Yun Tiany was definitely not light. After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Yun Tiany nodded in agreement. It was also at this moment that an elder of the Sword sect hurried in and looked at Xiao Chen nervously. Sect leader Yang Chun and a young man from the Evil Path suddenly appeared outside the city and said that they want to see you. Yang Chun and a young man suddenly appeared. Hearing the two words Yang Chun, Yun Tiany's expression clearly became somewhat complicated. However, Xiao Chen smiled faintly. Yang Chun? He did not expect that Yang Chun would actually dare to appear in Mausoleum City and even say that he wanted to see him. He did not know what Yang Chun was up to, but after thinking for a moment, Xiao Chen decided to go and see him. He immediately looked at Yun Tiany and asked, "How is it, Brother Yun? Do you want to meet him? Let's go." Hearing that, Yun Tiany sighed. Yun Tiany and Yang Chen's relationship was not bad before, but following the betrayal of the Coiling Heaven sect, Yun Tiany and Yang Chen had clearly become enemies. Their previous friendship was not worth mentioning in the face of such a major issue. Not knowing the purpose of Yang Chen's visit, Xiao Chen, Yun Tiany, as well as the experts of the Sword sect and Mutian Mountain, soon arrived outside the city. From afar, they saw Yang Chun and the evil spirits standing in the sky outside the city. None of them recognized the evil spirits. After all, the evil spirits had not fought with the Great Thousand World after awakening. However, looking at the posture of the two of them, Yang Chun was clearly half a step behind the evil spirits. This was undoubtedly telling Xiao Chun and the others that the evil spirits were the ones in charge. A strange look flashed in their eyes, but Xiao Chun and Yun Tiany still soared into the sky and arrived in front of Yang Chun and the evil spirits. This was their first meeting, and the evil spirits did not care about Yun Tiany at all. Instead, they looked directly at Xiao Chun and said indifferently, "You're Xiao Chun?" Although Xiao Chun did not recognize the evil spirits, he still nodded to acknowledge them. Seeing this, the evil spirits did not keep them in suspense and directly introduced themselves. "I'm the evil spirits. I'm the evil spirits from the Evil Path. I've heard about you from Yang Chun before, so I've specially come to meet you today." There was no hint of sarcasm in his words. Instead, he was looking down on Xiao Chun. He was very calm, as if he was really just there to meet Xiao Chun. However, Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. This was the first time he had heard of a heretic. Immediately, Xiao Chun smiled and said, "You came all the way here just to meet me? Don't you want to fight me?" Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2370. He had never met the evil spirits before, let alone have any relationship with them. When they heard Xiao Qin's words, the evil spirit's expression didn't change. I originally wanted to fight you, but you're injured. Furthermore, you're still too weak, so I'm not interested. When the evil spirits said this, it was as if they were talking about an insignificant matter. They weren't mocking or humiliating Xiao Qin. The feeling they gave was that they truly felt that Xiao Qin was too weak. Xiao Qin didn't get angry when he heard the evil spirit's words. When facing the evil spirits, Xiao Qin's intuition kept telling him that these guys were jealous and dangerous. He couldn't underestimate them. Now that an evil disciple had suddenly appeared on the evil path side, and he was probably very strong, Xiao Qin began to make guesses. Their foundation was indeed deep. Although they had been defeated back then, the foundation that the evil path had displayed wasn't inferior to that of the Great Thousand World. They had countless experts. Xiao Qin calmly looked at the evil spirits. He didn't know why the evil spirits had come, but it didn't seem like they wanted to attack. However, Xiao Qin didn't say anything. Instead, Yin Tianyi shouted coldly, "Yang Qin, you actually dare to come to Mausoleum City? Are you walking right into a trap?" Yin Tianyi's feelings toward Yang Qin were extremely complicated. Facing Yin Tianyi's angry shout, Yang Qin closed his eyes. After all, it was a fact that the Heavenly Gate had betrayed the Great Thousand World, and Yang Qin couldn't refute it. However, just as Yin Tianyi finished speaking, the evil spirit's expression darkened. A piece of trash actually has the face to talk nonsense here. Trash? Yin Tianyi had never been called trash in his life, let alone by someone of the same generation. Since he was young, Yin Tianyi had always been a genius. No matter where he went, he was the most dazzling existence. However, in the eyes of the evil spirits, he had become trash. Infuriated, Yin Tianyi looked at the evil spirits and coldly shouted, "Do you want to die?" Yin Tianyi was already in a bad mood because of Yang Qin. Now that the evil spirits called him trash, Yin Tianyi was even more furious. However, in the face of Yin Tianyi's rage, the evil spirits did not seem to mind at all. Instead, they calmly said, "What's wrong? You're trash, yet you won't let others talk about you." The attitude of the evil spirits towards Xiao Qin and Yin Tianyi was completely different. When facing Xiao Qin, the evil spirits didn't show any disdain or contempt. However, when facing Yin Tianyi, the evil spirits didn't hide their disdain and contempt. It was as if they really looked down on Yin Tianyi. It could be said that they were completely ignored by the evil spirits. Naturally, Yin Tianyi couldn't bear it. The two of them dared to come to the Mausoleum City and even dare to talk nonsense. Naturally, Yin Tianyi wouldn't let the evil spirits leave just like that. Killing intent emerged in his eyes as Yin Tianyi coldly shouted, "You're courting death." Immediately after, he directly attacked the evil spirits. Seeing Yin Tianyi attack, Xiao Qin originally wanted to stop him. After all, he couldn't see through the evil spirit's strength. If Yin Tianyi rashly attacked, he would most likely suffer. Unfortunately, before Xiao Qin could say anything, Yin Tianyi had already attacked the evil spirits. Seeing Yin Tianyi attack, Yang Qin also immediately reacted. Now that Yang Qin had followed the evil spirits, he naturally couldn't remain indifferent when someone attacked the evil spirits. However, the evil spirits stopped Yang Qin and said, "You're not strong enough. I don't have much time to waste here." With Yang Qin's strength to defeat Yin Tianyi, putting aside whether it was possible, it was absolutely impossible for Yang Qin to do so in a short period of time. After stopping Yang Qin, the evil spirits personally attacked Yin Tianyi. Casually sending out a palm strike, the evil spirits said indifferently, "A person should know himself well." If a person is like a frog at the bottom of a well who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth, such a person is no different from a fool. The evil spirits said that Yin Tianyi didn't know himself. Hearing this, the anger in Yin Tianyi's heart burned even brighter. Without saying anything, he directly sent out a punch. Yin Tianyi was very confident in his own strength. No matter how weak he was, it was impossible for him to lose to the evil spirits right from the start. Yin Tianyi angrily attacked. However, the next scene was unexpected to everyone present. The two fists collided, and Yin Tianyi was instantly sent flying. However, in just a single exchange, Yin Tianyi was completely suppressed by the evil spirits. No, it should be said that he was completely crushed. After forcing Yin Tianyi back with a palm strike, the evil spirits took a step forward and pointed at Yin Tianyi again. A blood-red finger light was aimed at Yin Tianyi's forehead. Seeing this, Yin Tianyi was so frightened that he broke out in cold sweat. He narrowly dodged the finger attack of the evil spirits. However, the evil spirits didn't give Yin Tianyi the slightest chance to catch his breath. Just as Yin Tianyi dodged the finger attack, the evil spirits had already appeared in front of Yin Tianyi. The evil spirits fiercely threw out a punch and ruthlessly hit Yin Tianyi's chest. His blood surged, and a trace of blood involuntarily flowed out from the corner of his mouth. In just 3 moves, Yin Tianyi was injured by the evil spirits. However, it wasn't over yet. The evil spirits didn't spare him and continued to attack. At this moment, Yin Tianyi was greatly alarmed. He didn't expect the evil spirits to be so strong. They were so strong that he couldn't withstand them at all. He had never met such a character before. For a moment, Yin Tianyi's face turned ashen. Compared to the difference in combat strength, Yin Tianyi's confidence was completely shattered by the evil spirits. The evil spirits had an overwhelming advantage right from the start. Judging from the current situation, Yin Tianyi would probably be defeated in 100 moves at most. However, just as Yin Tianyi found it harder and harder to resist, Xiao Chun suddenly made his move. He blocked the evil spirit's punch for Yin Tianyi and took the opportunity to pull Yin Tianyi behind him. Xiao Chun made his move and clashed head-on with the evil spirits. The evil spirits didn't move an inch, while Xiao Chun took 3 steps back. Xiao Chun was still at a disadvantage. However, compared to Yin Tianyi, he was much better. At least, he wasn't directly sent flying by the evil spirits. Seeing Xiao Chun make his move, the evil spirits didn't continue to attack. They only glanced at Yin Tianyi indifferently before shifting their gaze to Xiao Chun. I said that you're injured. However, even if you're in your peak condition, you're still no match for me. When speaking to Xiao Chun, the evil spirit's attitude was still as calm as an ancient well. There were no fluctuations in their emotions at all. However, their indifferent tone gave off a majesty that couldn't be rejected. Hearing the evil spirit's words, Xiao Chun didn't refute. This was because the evil spirits were speaking the truth. Their strength was the strongest that Xiao Chun had seen in his life. They were both at the small perfection end realm. However, the strength that the evil spirits displayed shocked Xiao Chun. Moreover, there was one thing that he was sure of. The evil spirits definitely didn't use their full strength. At least, they didn't use their trump cards. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2371. The evil spirit's strength shocked Xiao Chun, but the evil spirits didn't attack again. They just looked at Xiao Chun and calmly spoke. The evil spirit's strength shocked Xiao Chun, but the evil spirits didn't attack again. They just looked at Xiao Chun and calmly spoke. Your strength isn't bad. At the very least, you're a bit stronger than those trash. Xiao Chun, I'll give you time to heal. Once you're healed, we'll fight again. Before that, my corrupt path won't attack Tomb City. The evil spirits gave Xiao Chun enough time to heal, and they even guaranteed that they wouldn't attack Tomb City before then. Hearing that, Xiao Chun's eyes flashed. Xiao Chun could sense a strong confidence from the evil spirit's words. That was a confidence that they believed in themselves no matter what. It was precisely because of this confidence that Xiao Chun's fighting spirit was ignited. He looked at the evil spirits and smiled. If you want to fight, you don't have to wait until the future. You can do it today. Furthermore, I can guarantee that no one else will attack Tomb City. As a heretic of the corrupt path, the evil spirits didn't give Xiao Chun the slightest dislike. On the contrary, Xiao Chun admired the evil spirits. This was the first time the two of them had met, but Xiao Chun couldn't help admiring the evil spirits. It was because the evil spirits were straightforward and upright. Although they were heretics of the corrupt path, their characters weren't sinister. Perhaps this was because of the evil spirits' confidence in themselves. Because of this confidence, the evil spirits weren't willing to use any underhanded methods. Even if they wanted to win fair and square. Xiao Chen secretly admired the evil spirits. However, after hearing Xiao Chen's words, the evil spirits smiled and said, right now, you're no match for me. You don't even have the desire for me to make a move. Furthermore, do you really think that there's someone in this mausoleum city who can stop me? If that was the case, then the Emperor Realm Master in Mausoleum City would have already made his move. Recuperate well. Sooner or later, I will come and fight you, and it shouldn't be too far away. Without waiting for Xiao Chen's reply, the evil spirits turned around and left. Throughout the entire process, no one in Mausoleum City made a move. Even Luo Xing and the others had no intention of making a move. Watching Phantasm's departing figure, Xiao Chun had a vague idea of what was going on. It wasn't much different from what Xiao Chun had guessed. Luo Xing and the others naturally knew that the evil spirits had arrived. However, the three of them didn't make a move because there were no less than 5 evil sovereigns hiding in the shadows. As a result, Luo Xing and the others naturally wouldn't casually make a move. Furthermore, the evil spirits didn't have any intention of attacking Mausoleum City, so they naturally weren't a threat. For the time being, Mausoleum City didn't want to continue fighting with the evil path. Since the evil spirits didn't have any intention of attacking Mausoleum City and had even taken the initiative to retreat, Luo Xing and the others naturally wouldn't take the initiative to provoke them. With 5 evil sovereigns protecting them, it was no wonder that the evil spirits were so confident. Under the protection of 5 evil sovereigns, the evil spirits could safely leave. Only after watching the evil spirits disappear from sight did Xiao Chun look at Yin Tianyi. Even now, Yin Tianyi's expression was still very ugly. In response, Xiao Chun could only smile. Let's go. We'll talk when we get back. Today, Yin Tianyi had clearly suffered a heavy blow at the hands of the evil spirits. If the evil spirits were experts of the older generation, Yin Tianyi would probably feel better. However, the evil spirits were the same generation as Yin Tianyi. Yin Tianyi found it somewhat difficult to accept being defeated by the evil spirits. Once again, they returned to the city. On the other side, after leaving Mausoleum City, Yang Chun curiously asked the evil spirits, "Xiezi, where are we going now?" "To Leaping Tiger City." Hearing this, the evil spirits revealed a faint smile. Leaping Tiger City? Hearing this, Yang Chun was stunned. Currently, both the Evil Path and the Great Thousand World had gathered a large number of troops in Leaping Tiger City. It was as if they were preparing for a big battle. If they were to go to Leaping Tiger City now, could it be that the evil spirits also planned to intervene in the Battle of Leaping Tiger City? The evil spirits did not keep Yang Chun in suspense. Faced with Yang Chen's guess, the evil spirits quickly gave an answer. The evil spirits spoke in a neither fast nor slow manner. "We've already lost Mausoleum City. Naturally, we won't allow any accidents to happen in Leaping Tiger City. Moreover, I also want to see the other heavens' prides and monsters of the Great Thousand World." After saying this, the evil spirits did not give Yang Chun any chance to speak and directly rushed to Leaping Tiger City. Seeing this, although Yang Chun did not know what the evil spirits were thinking, he could only quickly follow. Mausoleum City temporarily regained its peace. Moreover, because of the evil spirits, the evil path did not have any intention of attacking Mausoleum City. As the Xiezi of the evil path, the evil spirits' words still had a lot of weight in the evil path. It could even be said that they were second only to Xie Tian. Even the evil sovereigns could not ignore the evil spirits' words. Therefore, since the evil spirits said that they would not attack Mausoleum City, the evil path would indeed not attack Mausoleum City. Therefore, at this moment, whether it was the Evil Path or the Great Thousand World, they placed their focus on Leaping Tiger City. Both sides had gathered many experts around Leaping Tiger City. As time went by, the battle quickly broke out. The Great Thousand World side had mobilized 4 heaven-ascending heavy armies and dozens of other large and small forces. They vowed to take down Leaping Tiger City in one fell swoop. On the other hand, the Evil Path had also arranged a large number of troops in Leaping Tiger City. Their strength was not weaker than the Great Thousand Worlds. In the first battle, both sides were locked in a fierce battle. It could be said that it was extremely tragic. After 3 days and 3 nights of fierce battle, both sides retreated and temporarily stopped fighting. There were heavy casualties, but Leaping Tiger City was still not taken down. At night, Dao Ju sat in the hall of the Saber Sect's encampment with an angry face. His face was cold and gloomy. The Saber Sect had suffered heavy losses in this battle. Although they had killed many Evil Path cultivators, Dao Ju felt a pain in his heart when he thought of the Saber Sect's losses. Damn it, how many people did the Evil Path arrange in Leaping Tiger City? Saber Ju cursed under his breath. Just as Saber Ju was inwardly fuming, a Saber Sect Vice Sect Master strode in. He first bowed respectfully to Saber Ju before speaking. Sect Leader, the casualties of all the major sects have been calculated. The casualties of the Moon Palace, Heavenly Policy Mansion, and Heavenly Ean Tower are similar to our Saber Sect. They have indeed suffered heavy losses in this battle. However, I think the same is true for the Evil Path. They did not gain much advantage. The casualties of the 10 Great Ling Tian sects, including the Saber Sect, were similar. This was normal. After all, the attack on Leaping Tiger City this time was launched by the 4 Great Ling Tian sects from all 4 directions. No one could hide at the back, so it was normal for the casualties to be similar. Dao Ju cursed in his heart. However, he still ordered, treat the injured and distribute the healing medicinal pills as soon as possible. As for those that are not enough, ask the sovereigns. Remember, you must ensure that every disciple of the Saber Sect has enough healing medicinal pills. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. The arrival of the evil spirits in Leaping Tiger City did not alarm many people. In fact, other than the evil sovereigns, not many people knew about the arrival of the evil spirits. As for Leaping Tiger City, it was still defending according to the previous plan. However, after the recent battle, both sides were probably in the recuperation stage, so no battle broke out for the time being. Instead, there was some small-scale conflict from time to time. However, the evil spirits weren't interested in these small-scale conflicts. The evil spirits only wanted to see how strong the geniuses of the Great Thousand World were. The evil spirits had already met Xiao Chun and Yun Tianyi in Mausoleum City. In addition to Yang Chun, it could be said that the evil spirits had already met 3 geniuses of the Great Thousand World. To be honest, apart from Xiao Chun, Yun Tianyi and Yang Chun did not catch the eye of the evil spirits. Although Yang Chun and Yun Tianyi were also known as geniuses of the Great Thousand World, they were still too weak in the eyes of the evil spirits. At least, they were much weaker than the geniuses of the Great Thousand World. As for Xiao Chun, he was only SOSO. However, it was still not enough to make the evil spirits excited. This was because the evil spirits had absolute confidence in winning against Xiao Chun. They might even be able to kill Xiao Chun. They couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. On the 3rd day after the evil spirits arrived in Leaping Tiger City, Yang Chen hurriedly came to the evil spirits. He bowed respectfully and said, "Xiezi, there is news that the sect master of the Heavenly Ean Tower, Yin Sheng, has personally led people to fight with us in the west of Leaping Tiger City." Xiaming had been waiting for news about the various outstanding geniuses, but he hadn't been nervous until now. Today, Yin Sheng had personally led a group of people to fight against the evil path. Xiaming opened his eyes abruptly, and a bright light flashed in his eyes. The sect master of the Heavenly Ean Tower, Yin Sheng, Very well, I will go and meet him. Without waiting for Yang Chen's reply, the evil spirits disappeared in a flash. Seeing the evil spirits leave, Yang Chen naturally chased after them. At the same time as the evil spirits set off, Yin Sheng and the others were fighting fiercely with a group of evil cultivators on a plain in the west of Leaping Tiger City. They were completely unaware that they had been targeted by the evil spirits. Early in the morning, Yin Sheng led a group of Heavenly Yin Tower's experts and took the initiative to attack the evil cultivators' encampment in the west of Leaping Tiger City. A fierce battle broke out between both sides. Yin Sheng didn't think of directly attacking Leaping Tiger City. After all, the defense of Leaping Tiger City was impregnable. However, it was just an encampment of evil cultivators, so Yin Sheng didn't have the slightest fear. This time, the evil spirits finally turned around and looked at Yin Sheng, but there was a faint coldness in their eyes. You overestimate yourself. Originally, I wasn't interested in ants. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Yin Sheng acted recklessly. Of course, the evil spirits couldn't ignore him. The evil spirits looked down on Yin Sheng. In the evil spirits' eyes, Yin Sheng wasn't worth their time. Therefore, they didn't intend to kill him. However, even if the evil spirits weren't interested in killing Yin Sheng, it didn't mean that they could jump around in front of them again and again. As soon as the evil spirits finished speaking, a monstrous blood aura soared into the sky from behind them. Sensing this monstrous blood aura, the vice sect leaders of the Heavenly Yin Tower were stunned. Two of them even said nervously, "Sect leader." As soon as the aura of the phantasms was released, everyone felt a chill run down their spines. Even Yin Sheng's expression flickered as he sensed it. The strength of the evil spirits had completely exceeded Yin Sheng's imagination. However, before Yin Sheng could do anything, the evil spirits had already taken the initiative to attack. The dense blood aura instantly condensed into a huge blood-red palm. It slammed down from the sky and completely enveloped Yin Sheng. The incomparable might caused Yin Sheng's hair to stand on end. Seeing that there was no way to avoid it, Yin Sheng could only choose to take it head-on. He adjusted his aura to the limit and attacked with all his strength, colliding with the blood-red palm. Yin Sheng was obviously at a disadvantage. However, as a monstrous genius in the Great Thousand World, Yin Sheng wasn't so weak that he couldn't take a palm from the evil spirits. Although the blood in his body was surging, Yin Sheng didn't lose his combat strength. However, just as Yin Sheng blocked the palm from the evil spirits had already appeared in front of Yin Sheng. The two of them immediately engaged in an intense battle. The evil spirits wanted to kill Yin Sheng. Therefore, the strength of their attack was obviously much more ruthless than when they fought with Yun Tianyi. Facing the evil spirits, who were filled with killing intent, Yin Sheng couldn't contend with them. After a few moves, he was already at a disadvantage and could only bitterly hold on. Seeing that Yin Sheng wasn't a match for the evil spirits, the few deputy sect leaders of the Heavenly Yin Tower were shocked. Since the sect leader was in danger, they naturally couldn't leave him to die. At the same time, the four deputy sect leaders of the Heavenly Yin Tower directly attacked the evil spirits. Seeing this, the evil spirits coldly snorted and said, "You're courting death." After saying that, the evil spirits forced Yin Sheng back with a punch and turned around to attack the four deputy sect leaders. Chapter 2374. The bloody light pierced through Yin Sheng's glabella. Even until his death, Yin Sheng had never thought that he would die in this world, and at the hands of someone of the same generation as him. The bloody light pierced through Yin Sheng's glabella. Even until his death, Yin Sheng had never thought that he would die in this world, and at the hands of someone of the same generation as him. Just as the evil spirits had said, Yin Sheng had many life-saving treasures on him. However, he was not strong enough. So, could his life-saving treasures really save his life? It might be possible once or twice, but what if it happened too many times? However, it was useless to say anything now, because Sheng's life had come to an end. His eyes were round, and he could not close his eyes even in death. A supreme talent of his generation had fallen in front of everyone just like that. Looking at Sheng's death, many of the heavenly Tower's experts were stunned. They had never thought that Sheng would die in what was supposed to be an ordinary battle. After killing Sheng, the evil spirits did not attack again. They turned to look at Yangchun and said, "Let's go." After saying that, the evil spirits left with Yangchun. They had no intention of continuing to attack. However, even though the evil spirits did not attack, the other evil path cultivators did not. They continued to attack the heavenly Tower's experts. With Sheng's death, the morale of the heavenly Tower's experts was greatly reduced. They no longer had any fighting spirit. Carrying the corpses of Sheng and the others, they chose to retreat. It could be said that they returned to the heavenly Tower's base in a sorry state. Soon, the news of Sheng's death spread throughout the Great Thousand World. Knowing that Sheng had died, all the major forces in the Great Thousand World were in an uproar. In the Saber sect, Dao Ju was originally thinking about the next battle. Suddenly, a deputy sect leader of the Saber sect rushed in, looking anxious. Seeing this, Dao Ju asked with a smile, "What's wrong? Why are you in such a hurry?" For the deputy sect leader to be so anxious, it seemed like it was not a small matter. Dao Ju was also interested. Regarding this, the deputy sect leader said bluntly, "Sect leader, Sheng is dead." After hearing this, the smile on Dao Ju's face gradually froze. In the end, it disappeared. He looked at the deputy sect leader in disbelief and asked, "What did you say?" Sheng has died at the hands of the evil Daos, 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 evil Dao. Sheng's death had been told by the evil Dao's evil son, Phantasm. Hearing this, Saber Ju's heart was filled with shock. But who would have thought that a heavenly genius would die just like that? And the ones who killed him were not the evil sovereigns of the evil path. Dao Ju immediately inquired about the details of what had happened. He learned that the evil spirits had killed Sheng in just a few hundred moves. Dao Ju was even more shocked. If they could kill Sheng so easily, then the evil spirits were definitely much stronger than Sheng. Since when did such a person appear in the evil path? After Dao Ju heard the entire story, he was still unable to let it go for a long time. It was not only Dao Ju. Xiao Xiao, Li Chun, and the others were also the same. In the heavenly Tower's encampment, the sovereigns who had heard the news also rushed over. Litian was speechless for a long time when he saw Sheng's corpse. Sheng was his disciple. Now that he was dead, Litian did not know how to feel. It was very complicated. The evil disciples of the evil path? He has already awakened? The heavenly ancestor also looked at Sheng's corpse with a solemn expression. Tenzu had participated in the previous battle between the righteous and evil paths, so he naturally knew about the evil spirits. Back then, no one in the younger generation of the Great Thousand World was a match for the evil spirits. In the end, only Wu Di stood up and fought against the evil spirits. However, he was defeated by the evil spirits in the end. The heavenly ancestor still had a deep impression of Wu Di. In terms of talent alone, Wu Di was definitely the best person the heavenly ancestor had ever seen. Compared to Wu Di, the heavenly geniuses of the Great Thousand World could be said to be far inferior. If Wu Di had not died back then, Tenzu even believed that Wu Di would definitely have broken through to the sovereign realm and reached an unprecedented cultivation realm. Wu Di was definitely destined to be the best, and his talent was unparalleled. However, even so, he still died at the hands of the evil spirits in the end. After the battle between the righteous and evil paths, the evil spirits mysteriously disappeared. Tenzu and the many sovereigns searched for them for a long time, but in the end, they found nothing. Now, It seemed that the evil spirits were indeed not dead. They had been hidden somewhere by their father, and now they had reappeared. After paying respects to Yin Sheng, the sovereigns came to the hall. Yin Litian immediately looked at Tenzu and asked, "Tenzu, do you know the identity of the evil spirits?" Tenzu's expression changed when he learned that Yin Sheng had died at the hands of the evil spirits. Yin Litian happened to see this scene. Therefore, Yin Litian guessed that Tenzu must know the identity of the evil spirits. Tenzu did not hide anything from Yin Litian's question. He nodded slightly to show that he knew. Seeing this, Yin Litian's eyes flashed with a cold light. "Who is this person?" "The only son of the evil god, Siet Tian," Tenzu said indifferently. There was no need to hide the identity of the evil spirits. Moreover, Tenzu did not think that they had the chance to kill the evil spirits. Although the evil spirits' current strength was indeed not enough to contend with the sovereigns, as the evil spirits, they naturally did not lack the protection of the evil spirits. Moreover, with the strength of the evil spirits, it was estimated that only the sovereigns could kill them. Even the geniuses of the Great Thousand World could not kill them, and they might even be killed by the evil spirits. The son of Sietian? Hearing Tenzu's words, the sovereigns present fell silent. It was not good news for the great wide world that a heaven-defying evil disciple had suddenly appeared on the evil path side. Of course, what made everyone's hearts even heavier was what Tenzu said next. The evil spirits' combat strength was unparalleled back then, and no one of their peers was a match for them. During the great battle between the good and evil, the evil spirits could be said to have defeated all the geniuses of the Great Thousand World by themselves. Only the sovereigns could defeat such a character. Only the sovereigns could contend with the evil spirits and kill the evil spirits. Apart from them, even the geniuses were no match for the evil spirits. Hearing that Tenzu had given the evil spirits such a high valuation, and Sovereign was not convinced. So, no one in the Great Thousand World can contend with the evil spirits? Not even the other geniuses? No. Hearing this, Tenzu shook his head. Even Yin Sheng had died at the hands of the evil spirits, and the other geniuses had also suffered the same fate. If one had to say who among the geniuses of the Great Thousand World could contend with the evil spirits, then in Tenzu's opinion, only Xiao Chun might have a little hope. Please add this to your collection, monthly votes, and recommendations. It wasn't impossible to use the strength of the evil spirits to deal with the geniuses of the Great Thousand World. This was because other than sovereigns, no one could stop the evil spirits. Once the battle broke out, Yin Tong and the other evil sovereigns would naturally take action to hold back the sovereigns of the Great Thousand World. This would ensure that the sovereigns of the Great Thousand World would not have the time to think about other things, let alone help. In this way, with the strength of the evil spirits, it wouldn't be too difficult for them to kill the geniuses of the Great Thousand World. After hearing Yin Tong's words, the other evil sovereigns also expressed their agreement. Just because of the appearance of a single person, a member of the younger generation at that, a slight change had occurred in the battle situation of the entire Leaping Tiger City. No one dared to guarantee that such a change will be magnified infinitely in the future. Immediately, the evil path did not give the Great Thousand World any chance to breathe at all. They directly launched an attack on the Great Thousand World. The evil path, which was originally supposed to be defending, had now turned into an attack. This showed how confident they were at this time. In the face of the evil path's attack, the Great Thousand World had no choice but to fight back, unless the Great Thousand World was willing to give up on Leaping Tiger City. However, the Great Thousand World obviously would not give up on Leaping Tiger City until the very last moment. This was because Leaping Tiger City's position was really too important. After a few days of silence, the two sides broke out into a great battle again. This time, the evil sovereigns and sovereigns on both sides also fought fiercely. A total of 20 evil sovereigns and sovereigns were tangled in a chaotic battle. Just as Yin Tong had expected before the battle, the sovereigns of the Great Thousand World were completely entangled by them. At this time, it was impossible for them to rescue the sovereigns, even if they wanted to. When the battle broke out, the evil spirits also took Yang Chun to join the battle unhurriedly. The evil spirits did not even have the intention to pay attention to the ordinary cultivators of the Great Thousand World at all. They had always let Yang Chun, who was beside them, take care of them. They killed one after another of the Great Thousand World's experts, and in response, many of the Great Thousand World's experts began to curse. Yang Chun, you traitor. Yang Chun, don't forget that you're from the Great Thousand World. Now you're actually siding with the evil path. In the face of everyone's curses, Yang Chun's expression did not change. He was also merciless in his attacks. He knew very well that from the moment he joined the evil path's camp, he had become an enemy of the Great Thousand World. Therefore, he did not show any mercy because of their previous friendship. Of course, there was also the evil spirits. In the evil spirits' sword world, there was no way for them to fight. First of all, it was impossible for the three of them to hit the evil spirits, and the evil spirits' attacks were difficult for the three of them to block perfectly. Moreover, with World Flash, the evil spirits could attack as they pleased. Their hearts were getting heavier and heavier. At this time, the evil spirits said faintly, "I'm going to make my move." With these words, the phantasm vanished from where he was standing and reappeared behind Li Chun. Li Chun, who had just stabilized himself, suddenly felt a chilly aura coming from behind him. The first thing Li Chun did was to turn around and see a blood-colored sword light slashing towards him. Even though he didn't have the time to dodge, Li Chun didn't give up. Knowing that he couldn't dodge the attack, Li Chun thrust his spear at the phantasm at the risk of being injured. The blood-red sword slammed into Li Chun's body, and Li Chun's spear also went straight for the evil spirits. The two of them were very close to each other. In Li Chun's opinion, the evil spirits could not dodge his spear. Of course, under normal circumstances, the evil spirits would have a hard time dodging Li Chun's spear. However, with World Flash, the situation was different. The evil spirits did not change their expressions when they saw Li Chun's attack. Their figure disappeared again, and Li Chun's attack missed. Li Chun did not hit the evil spirits. Moreover, because Li Chun was caught off guard by the evil spirit's attack, he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His injuries worsened, and his face instantly turned pale. At the same time, his aura also weakened a lot. The attack injured Li Chun again. In the next second, before Xiao Xiao and the Dao Ju could react, the evil spirits appeared behind the Dao Ju. Using the same method, the Dao Ju was caught off guard. Xiao Xiao shouted, "Be careful!" Then, before the Dao Ju could defend herself, the evil spirit's attack had already landed on her. They successfully hit the Dao Ju again. After 2 consecutive attacks, Li Chun and the Dao Ju could not fight back at all. It was as if they were being played by the evil spirits. This time, after the evil spirits hit the Dao Ju, their figures also disappeared on the spot, not giving the Dao Ju any chance to fight back. After the evil spirits disappeared, the Dao Ju could not predict where the evil spirits would appear next. She could not catch the evil spirits' movements at all. "We have to break the sword realm, or we will lose without a doubt." The Dao Ju gritted her teeth and thought helplessly. If they did not break the evil spirit's sword realm, they would not be able to fight back. In the end, the 3 of them would be killed by the evil spirits. However, just as the Dao Ju was thinking about how to break the sword realm, the evil spirits hit Xiao Xiao with their swords.